Hi. Good morning. I always say good morning. I don't know why I say good morning. I don't know. It's 3 o'clock in the afternoon my time. I don't know why I say good morning. That's a good. I don't know. I don't know. Hey Denise, how are you today? Welcome in, Sheila, Rubber Ramada, Crime Time. Today we are going to what are we going to do today? We're going to do the penalty phase of Jose Soto Escalera. We kind of bypassed that with another trial that came. And so we're going to get this one out. Oh, Ava, I hope you're okay, love. I hope you're okay. You're at the lung doctor. Okay, we'll be here. Just keep us in your ear. Psh, we'll be real quiet. I promise. It's morning in Hawaii. Yeah, it's morning somewhere. Just not here in Texas. In Texas, it's 3 o'clock and it's hot as hell. I have bad dogs today, just so everybody is aware. I have scratches all over my arm because, that's the luxury of having dogs. And then, me and my bacon situation this morning, which, Denise already got to hear about my bacon. After I cooked Hector his bacon, I walked out the kitchen and I hear tick, 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 and it's nails on my kitchen table because Meat is up there enjoying his daddy's bacon. So with that, I've had a very busy and eventful morning, as usual. Even though I don't get up until late, I'm always busy. So we're going to roll into penalty phase, day 1. We may even make it to day 2. I'm not sure, but we will see how far we go. So I'm going to hit play. There's a little bit of not intro, but just some video capture that I wanted to be sure to show to start off. And then we'll go over. Take that screen. Okay. There's not any talking right here, but it was really kind of interesting when I was watching it. The way they're just kind of hanging out, and let's change the speed up to 1.25 like we usually do. And I believe, see here he comes out, and then they pan over to Tania's mom. And she just looked real distraught to me. I feel so bad for her. And I believe Tania's son is also in the audience. What do you call that? A gallery, not an audience. It's a gallery. Sorry, that was rude. It's not an. Oh.
There's the
Okay.
Present. We were going to be instructing the jury. The jury clerk apparently told our 4 alternates who reported downstairs that they were not needed and sent them home. They're being retrieved. One of them, I'm told, is 30 minutes out. That was 5 minutes ago. Lacey Clark. But
sir, you just announced. I didn't watch it. He just announced a juror's name, sir. Oh my gosh. Okay, ding ding. Right off the bat, we got issues. 4 jurors are late, and because they thought they were done. Oh my goodness. And he's over here announcing jurors' names. Sir.
we're also trying to get the Zoom to work on the courtroom, but that'll be working when we need it.
Wait, I have something I wanted to show first. Denise, are you still here? Oh my gosh, I have something I want to show first. Let me pull it up. Hold up. Pull it up. Oh my gosh. Switch accounts. We need to go to Rubber. I found something today that cracked me up. I saw a judge lose it. Oh, they were told in property they can leave. Okay. But look, watch this. Look, view channel. Hold up. Let me pull this up. Let's see. Videos. It's unlisted because I didn't want to put this out there. What? Where is it? Did I do it under the other channel? Switch accounts. Oh, I must have did it under. Well, where is it? Okay, I'll have to find it and I'll pop it up later. I'll pop it up in a little bit. I swear I put it in. Hang on, give me just a second, y'all. I normally don't get all wishy-washy and squirrely like this, but I swear I put it on my channel. And because I made it unlisted because it was something I wanted to share, but I didn't want it out there for everybody. Yes, it's here. Why is it not showing on my channel? Oh, how about let's just do. Do I have to go in my? No, I've screwed this up. Switch accounts. Let's see, where do I find my private videos? Because I privated it, I don't know how to find it. You know what? Here, let me unprivate it. And then I can. Actually, I know what I can do. We're going to share it. Denise, I'm going to share this in your Facebook, but only so I can open it because it's a private link. So give me just a second. I got to find my Facebook. Okay. Let's see. Open in Chrome. Okay. Here we go. I'm going to switch this tab, y'all. We're going to watch this just for a minute.
Not. You should be able to hear me.
You're on mute.
No,
What?
I'm not. You should be able to hear me just fine. It's the way the system's set up. Can you hear me, Mr. Banks?
By the way,
Banks,
this is Judge Morales. He is a Fort Bend County attorney, judge in Fort Bend County in Texas. And this is over the Stafford, Missouri City area. And Judge Morales gets so upset.
you should be able to hear me just fine. It's the way the system's set up. Can you hear me, Mr. Banks? Mr. Banks, can you hear me?
He lost it today.
About to do away with Zoom altogether.
Watch his face. Bless his heart. He was so frustrated.
Mr. Banks, can you hear me? No more civil Zoom. We're done with civil motion Zoom.
Can we see if anything comes through this?
Sure, go ahead.
Testing, testing. Can you hear me, Alade?
Mr. Banks,
Your Honor, you're on mute.
no, I'm not.
No,
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm not.
Can you
And
hear
see
me?
that? He says, no, I'm not. And Mr. Banks read
I'm
his
not.
lips
Okay, I'm sorry.
and panicked.
Can you hear
I'm
me?
sorry.
When I'm looking at it on the screen, it shows that your mics are muted.
No. Turn your mic on, Sarah, see if you can't.
Can you hear me?
Mr. Banks, can you hear me?
Hello?
Mr. Banks,
Yes, I can hear you now.
you can hear me now. Okay.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. We're on the record in 24 CCV 07471.
Mr. Banks. Mr. Banks. Mr. Banks, can you hear me? Judge Morales lost his shit, and I don't think he'll be doing any more Zoom. So it's a good thing for him. Right? We were in a Verizon commercial. I was like, oh my goodness. So just for that short little video, I just had to catch Judge Morales. He was so stressed. And he's a great judge. I've been before him too. He was doing some Quail Valley homeowner stuff. And anyways, yeah. So he's a really good judge. It just really, today he was like, we're done with this Zoom. No more civil court with Zoom. I was like, I feel you, sir. All that. Can you hear me now?
Mr. Burns wanted to address some scheduling issues, though, which we have an opportunity to do that now since we're not ready with the jury.
Yeah.
Okay. We don't need to listen to their scheduling, and court is on a break.
Fellow jurors, although
They're waiting, Cindy, because you were a few minutes late. They're waiting on 4 of the jurors were misinformed and told that they could leave, and they shouldn't have left. So, hey, ATCN. Okay, so we're going to roll with this now. I just wanted to share that this morning. I was so feeling a Verizon
about the case, including your fellow jurors, although we're past deliberations in the guilt phase, but that rule applies now too at this time. Don't talk to each other about this point in the trial until you go back to deliberating the case. But because of the vast media attention that this case has attracted, I want to be absolutely sure to reiterate to you, although I think I've got the message clear once again, in an abundance of caution, please don't talk to anyone about the case. And I appreciate that you are following the court's instructions in that regard, so that you base this part of the proceeding only on the evidence presented in court that you've already heard in the guilt phase of the trial and that you will be hearing during the sentencing phase. Before we get started and I give you instructions about this part of the proceeding, I do want to tell you in advance, give you an idea of logistically, procedurally, how we're going to be going forward over the next 2 days. And my primary goal there is to assure you that our intent is to submit this case to you for your decision tomorrow afternoon. Cases at this juncture involve great logistical challenge that are beyond the control of the attorneys. They do the best they can, but witnesses will be called who are either at or coming from very far away places, and you all are aware of what is involved with travel. So therefore, what's going to happen this morning, we're going to have some very brief testimony this morning. We're going to break. We're going to start this afternoon at 1 o'clock. We're going to have some testimony this afternoon. And then after that, we'll break. We'll come back tomorrow morning, have some testimony in the morning. And then the goal would be to submit the case to you with arguments and instructions on the law in the afternoon where the case is submitted to you. The reason I'm telling you that is I anticipate some of these breaks could be significant beyond what we would normally have done during the guilt phase. So I just want you to be prepared for that, and also not to concern yourself with it, just to be patient. But I think it'll help you being patient if you know the grand scheme as far as when the case will be submitted to you, which is tomorrow. So I believe your participation in this matter will be ended tomorrow afternoon. That's the schedule. So now that I've explained that, members of the jury, you have found the defendant guilty of 1 count of first-degree murder of Tania Wise and 1 count of first-degree murder of her unborn child. The only issue before you in this phase of the trial is to determine the appropriate penalty as to these crimes. The penalty for each of these crimes is either life in prison without the possibility of parole or the death penalty. Before proceeding further, it will be helpful if you understand how this proceeding will be conducted. The attorneys will have an opportunity, if they wish, to make an opening statement. The opening statement gives the attorneys a chance to tell you what evidence they believe will be presented during the penalty phase of this trial. As you know, what the lawyers say during opening statements is not evidence, and you are not to consider it as such. After the attorneys have had the opportunity to present their opening statements, the state and the defendant may present evidence. Witnesses may be called to testify under oath. If so, they will be examined and may be cross-examined by the attorneys. Documents and other exhibits also may be produced as evidence. This evidence, along with the evidence that you heard during the guilt phase of this trial, is presented for you to determine whether the state proved beyond a reasonable doubt the existence of the alleged aggravating factors. If so, you must weigh whether the proven aggravating factors are sufficient and whether the aggravating factors outweigh any mitigating circumstances the defendant proves by the greater weight of the evidence. Finally, you will decide whether the defendant should be sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole or to death. At the conclusion of the evidence and after argument of counsel, you will be instructed on the law that will guide your deliberations. An aggravating factor is the only circumstance recognized by Florida law that could result in a defendant receiving the death penalty. An aggravating factor increases the gravity of a crime or the harm to a victim beyond the harm inherent in every first-degree murder. You must unanimously agree that an aggravating factor was proven beyond a reasonable doubt before it may be considered by you in arriving at your sentencing decision. The aggravating factors alleged by the state in this case as to both victims are: 1, as to both victims, that the defendant was contemporaneously convicted of another capital felony. This is based on the conviction as to the victim involved in the other count. As to both victims, the capital felony was committed for financial gain. That's number 2. Number 3, as to both victims, the first-degree murder was committed in a cold, calculated, and premeditated manner without any pretense of moral or legal justification.
Can I answer these questions, or does the jury have to?
The term cold means the murder was the product of calm and cool reflection. The term calculated means having a careful plan or prearranged design to commit murder. A killing is premeditated if it occurs after the defendant consciously decides to kill. The decision must be present in the mind at the time of the killing. The law does not fix the exact period of time that must pass between the formation of the premeditated intent to kill and the killing. The period of time must be long enough to allow reflection by the defendant. The premeditated intent to kill must be formed before the killing. However, in order for this aggravating factor to apply, a heightened level of premeditation demonstrated by a substantial period of reflection is required. A pretense of moral or legal justification is any claim of justification or excuse that, though insufficient to reduce the degree of murder, nevertheless rebuts the otherwise cold, calculated, or premeditated nature of the murder. And aggravating factor number 4 relates only to count 2, the murder, first-degree murder of the unborn child, and that is the victim of the capital felony was a person less than 12 years of age. Once the state has presented evidence of the existence of aggravating factors, victim impact evidence may be presented. Such evidence is only presented to demonstrate the victim's uniqueness as an individual and the loss to the community by the victim's death. However, victim impact evidence must not be considered by you as an aggravating factor. Mitigating circumstances. A mitigating circumstance can be anything that might indicate the death penalty is not appropriate for the defendant. It is not limited to the facts surrounding the crime. In other words, a mitigating circumstance may include any aspect of the defendant's character, background, or life, or any circumstance of the offense that may indicate the death penalty is not an appropriate sentence in this case. Whether a mitigating circumstance has been proven is an individual judgment by each juror. A mitigating circumstance need not be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, but must be proven by the greater weight of the evidence. After the evidence has been presented, the attorneys will have the opportunity to make their closing arguments. Following the closing arguments by the attorneys, the court will instruct you on the law. After the final instructions are given, the alternate jurors will be released, and you will begin your deliberations. You should not form any definite or fixed opinion until you've heard all the evidence, the arguments of the lawyers, and my instructions on the law. Once again, until that time, you should not discuss the case among yourselves or anyone else by any means whatsoever. Your decision must be based solely on the evidence or lack of evidence and the law. The same rules and procedures regarding your possession and use of cell phones apply to this phase of the trial as well. At the end of the case, while you are deliberating, you must not communicate with anyone outside the jury room, and you cannot have in the jury room any cell phones, computers, or other electronic devices other than those that we would provide to you as we did in the guilt phase. Once again, you must not conduct any investigation of your own. The same rules continue to apply. Just as in the guilt phase of this case, a defendant has the absolute right to remain silent. From the exercise of a defendant's right to remain silent, a jury is not permitted to draw any inference regarding the existence of an aggravating factor or an appropriate sentence, and the fact that a defendant did not take the witness stand must not influence your sentencing decision in any manner whatsoever. We now begin with the opening statements of the attorneys, and the state may proceed with its opening statement.
Morning, everyone. All right, so as you've already found the defendant guilty of first-degree murder of Tania Wise and first-degree murder of what would be her second son, the defendant's fifth child, Josiah Wise. And as the judge just explained to you, all of the evidence that was introduced during the guilt phase applies in the penalty phase. So all of the evidence that you learned, all of the testimony, that all applies in this case. And if you need to bring it, it'll go back with you again if you need it. So what is the first step that we talked about? And this goes back to jury selection. The state has to prove each of the aggravating factors beyond a reasonable doubt. And what you'll see when you go back and you think about the evidence that from the guilt phase applies to this case is that has all been proven. Each one of those have been proven by beyond a reasonable doubt. And the judge talked to you about 4 different factors. 3 of them apply to both victims. And when we talk about both counts are independent of themselves. The defendant can get a death sentence on both counts. He can get a death sentence on one or the other. He can get death for first-degree murder of an unborn child, or he can get the death sentence on just Tania Wise. He can get life on both counts. That's your decision. But what the evidence that was presented in this case already shows is that each and every one of those aggravating factors has already been proven beyond reasonable doubt. And when you use your common sense, it's pretty clear. Because what's the first one? Contemporaneous. There's a capital conviction. Both of the murders you've already found him guilty of. That's what that factor is. It's been proven you've already found him guilty of both murders at the same time of both the victims. That factor's been proven beyond reasonable doubt. What's the next one? Financial gain. How has that been proven? He told us in the garbage truck, I'm going to lose everything. I'm going to lose it. He needs to stop this before he has another child. It's going to ruin his marriage. It's going to cost him money. There's a potential for there to be a separation. He's got a new child to take care of. He wanted to eliminate the possibility of his wife finding out in the existence of him having another child. He did this for a financial gain. He tells Eric Alvarado days and times over and over again. What is his situation? It's been proven beyond reasonable doubt. The fourth one that applies to just the victim, once again, you use your common sense. You think about this, the victim was less than 12. We know the gestational age of the baby. She was 8 months pregnant. Once again, the evidence that's already been presented in this case proves that beyond a reasonable doubt. So when you go back there, the first step should be those 3 easily proven beyond a reasonable doubt. What is the last one? It was done in a cold and calculated and premeditated. And the judge, he defined those to you. Cold is a cool, calm reflection. Let's go back to the garbage truck video. He planned this out for days, over and over again. He drives around in his garbage truck discussing, should I do it this way? Should I blow her brains out? Should I choke her? Would it be easier to get it done with one blow and be done with this? They look at many different spots of where he's going to dump the body. Is anyone going to find her out here? He thinks about what her life is like. No one's going to be looking for her. He talks about how he's going to lure her out there. It's all been proven beyond a reasonable doubt. Any one of the 4 aggravating factors in and of itself can justify the death penalty if you go through the whole process and you follow the laws instructed by the judge. All 4 of them can, but each one is independent of itself. And the first step is, do you find that there are aggravating factors? And the evidence shows yes, all 4 of them are there. Now, do those aggravating factors justify the death penalty? Yes, I encourage you that they do. And when you go back and you look at all of the evidence in this case, you look at the aggravating factors, you consider the mitigating circumstances, the appropriate sentence is the death penalty in this case. Thank you.
Thank you. And the defense, will you like to make an opening statement at this time, Mr. Burns? Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen of the jury, good morning. I have waited long to address you, but more about that later. The state will, I think, likely prove, probably already has, that this killing was done coldly and calculatedly and premeditatedly. I think they can prove that to you. So I think you probably will have an aggravator in your pocket. And I think regarding the victim, Josiah, who looked in the autopsy photos so much to me like a newborn baby, I think you're certainly going to find that he is under the age of 12. And this is the opportunity where I will tell you what the mitigators will be and what my witnesses will be and who they will be and what they will say. And I would love to tell you all about it, but I don't know. Since the conviction, many of my witnesses have melted away. They won't be here. Victims of their own moral cowardice, in my opinion. I could compel their appearance by subpoena, but I'm here to beg for a man's life, and I don't want people in the witness chair who don't want to help me do that. So I can't tell you exactly what's going to happen beyond this afternoon. This afternoon, I will present a witness. His name is Raul Banasco. He is an expert in prisons, in the Florida prison system. He's worked in Florida. He's worked in other states. And he will tell you about the prison system and how Jose will fit into it. If you do vote to condemn him to death, I think your knowledge and common sense tells you that he will exist as a prisoner for years until that happens. And if you should vote for life without possibility of parole, then he will exist in prison forever and ever. And Raul Banasco will tell you how that might be, so that you have a fuller picture there. You will also hear from a lady who knew Jose a long time ago, knew him well, knew him intimately. She will come in and testify. She, at least, is not afraid of what people on social media might say about her. She will come in difficult circumstances and tell you a little bit more about Jose. That's all I have for this afternoon. The judge mentioned travel problems. That's my witnesses. We are having a problem wrangling them and getting them here from Connecticut. I do expect that we are going to have some of Jose's family members arrive this afternoon in Palm Beach. We will speak to them this evening. The state will have a chance to speak to them tomorrow, and you will hear from one or two or three or maybe all four of them tomorrow. I'm not sure how many are actually going to get on the plane. And so I don't want to leave you in a mystery. I wish I could tell you who's going to be here and what they're going to say, but you and I will learn together probably. But the thrust of the matter is that you will have plenty of mitigators to consider. And because I am missing witnesses, will probably alter and enlarge some portions of my intended argument that will be addressing what it might mean to you and how you will make your moral decision. As you have learned in jury selection, it's your own personal moral decision. I'm going to offer you, how about that, some guidance in that way. So you will hear some witnesses for the defense this afternoon. I think you will hear from some of Jose's family members tomorrow. And then I think you're going to be making your decision or retiring to deliberate about it at some point tomorrow. That's all I have for you right now. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Burns. And the state may proceed with its case.
Yes, so the people of the state of Florida call Elizabeth Bedola.
Do you swear affirm that evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
You've testified before, but go ahead and state your name for the record and spell your last name, please.
My name is Elizabeth Bedolla. It's Bedolla.
Okay. And again, just for the sake of clarity, go ahead and state your relationship with Tania Wise.
Tania was my daughter.
Okay. And did you prepare a written victim impact statement?
That's correct.
Okay. I'm going to show you what has been marked as court's exhibit number 1. You recognize this statement?
Yes.
Is that the statement that you prepared for the jury today?
Yes.
Okay. When you feel like you're ready, please go ahead and read that statement to the jury.
My name is Elizabeth Bedolla, and I am the mother of Tania E. Wise and the grandmother of her unborn son, Josiah Thomas Wise. I am here to speak about the loss of my Tania and Josiah and how their death has forever changed my life and my family's life. Tania was lovable, caring, a devoted mother. She had a beautiful soul and was always willing to help and take care of her family. She enjoyed being a mother more than anything in the world. She loved spending time with her son, Jamar, playing with him, cheering for him in all his events, and making sure he always felt loved and supported. Tania was so excited about becoming a mother again. She always spoke about giving birth and how great of a mother she would be once more. She had so many dreams for Jamar and Josiah, dreams of raising them, guiding them, creating happy life together. Those dreams were stolen from her, from us,
from the child who will never have a chance to grow up with his loving mother. Every memory with Tania was special. I clearly remember the last time we were together as a family. Her stepdad, her son, Tania, and I went to the beach. We laughed, we played, we had so much fun. It was one of the happiest days we had together, and I will cherish it forever. Another beautiful moment that I remember was her baby shower, surrounded by family, celebrating new life that we were waiting for it to welcome. Those were the last 2 times we had with Tania. That were memories I will hold on in my heart for the rest of my life. The emotional impact of losing my Tania and Josiah is unbearable. I cannot sleep at night. When I do, the nightmares are horrific. Birthdays, holidays, and even simple dinners bring so much emptiness, loneliness, and pain because she's not there. I'm unable to function properly at work or in my daily life. I miss her so much, my baby girl. She was my baby girl, my only girl. And losing her has broken me in many ways I cannot explain. The grief is overwhelming. I live in constant pain, not only in my body, but also in my heart. A heart that never goes away. It never goes away. I'm angry. I'm angry because I don't have Tania and Josiah here with me to love and joy and share my life with every day. They should have been here. Instead, I'm left with grief, sadness, and memories. That anger is part of my pain, and it will never leave me. I still have problems accepting that she's gone. I catch myself thinking that she will be here with us tomorrow, and that I hear her voice or see her smile. But tomorrow comes, and she's still not there. That reality is crushing, and it's something that I struggle with for the rest of my life. Her son, Jamar, who was only 8 years old at the time of her mother's murder, misses his mom every single day. The sadness and the trauma that this has caused him is something no child should ever have to carry. Jamar struggled with the loss deeply, and it breaks my heart to see him growing up without his mother's love, guidance, and presence in his life. Our house was one full of laughter and energy, and it's now quiet. Tania was the life of our home, with her smile, her joy, and the way she played all around with Jamar. Now the light is gone, and our home feels dark and empty without her. The pain is not mine alone. Tania's stepfather, her son, brothers, grandparents, aunt, uncle, and cousins are all suffering as well. Many of us are battling depression, trauma, PTSD because of this tragedy. Our entire family has shattered, and the weight of the grief follows us every single day. The stress of losing Tania and Josiah has also affected my health. I have a heart condition that has grown worse because of the grief and the stress I carry every day. The strategy has taken serious toll on my body, broken, and has also broken my spirit. And it's not just me, it has also taken physical and emotional impact of our son, Jamar. I grapple daily with the loss of Tania, his mother. I wonder how the future will be. And I wonder how Jamar will grow up without Tania. And how our family will find a way to live with this emptiness. Nothing feels certain anymore without her. The future we imagine is gone, and we're left trying to survive in a world that feels hopeless and broken. Tania has already missed so much, and she will continue to miss every important milestone in Jamar's life. She will not be there for his accomplishments, his graduation, and his wedding day one day. She will never get a chance to hold her grandchild. These are moments that should have been hers as a mother, but they have been stolen from her and from all of us. Nothing can bring Tania and Josiah back. The future we dreamed of, the milestones, the celebrations, the simple every.
Was he rubbing his eyes? Because I don't think he was crying. I really don't think he was crying. I think he was just rubbing his eyes.
Day moments have been stolen from us. I will never see my daughter raise her children. I will never see my daughter raise her children. And I will never get to hold my grandson. Our loss is permanent. And it has changed me and my family forever. The terrible pain and devastating impact this crime has had on me and my family, but most importantly, my grandson, who will now be come into a life without a mother, is simply unfathomable. We will live with this grief for the rest of our life. What happened to my Tania and Josiah will affect me forever. And I don't know how to live without her. She was my baby girl, my only girl. I will carry this pain every single day of my life. Nothing will ever take away this grief, the anger and the emptiness that their loss has left me behind. In the end, 2 innocent lives have been stolen from us, and we will never fully recover from this loss.
Ma'am, I want to show you what has been marked as court exhibit, photo from all that's court exhibit number 1. Are these 30 photographs of Tania that show her?
I want to hug you, Cindy. Man. Wow. Okay, I'm not going to cry, y'all. I'm going to try not to cry today.
Her throughout her life.
You notice while she's flipping, she kind of laughs at a couple pictures and gets emotional with some. You know, she's having a lot of mama memories right now. See that grin right there? That was a happy picture.
Yes.
And all these photos show Tania at various stages of her life.
Yes.
Okay. Your Honor, permission to publish?
Any objection to introducing the item and publishing it?
No, Your Honor.
Those items will be introduced into evidence and published. And you may step down. And the state's next witness.
Yes, sir. We'll say the Florida call Tracy Hamill. Tracy Hamill.
Let's see. Hold on.
Tracy Hamill. Does she need to be sworn?
I don't know who the witness is or what your plan is, so it depends on.
Victim advocate who's going to read several victim advocates.
So she would not be sworn at this time. She's going to simply be reading a statement of another person. Okay,
Yes, sir.
It's not sworn testimony. She can simply read the document.
Ma'am, can you state your name for the record and spell your last name?
Tracy Hamill, Hamel.
Okay, and what do you do for a living?
I'm a victim's advocate at the state attorney's office.
Okay, and as part of your duties as a victim's advocate, do you sometimes read prepared statements for those people who may not be in an emotional position to do so for themselves?
Yes,
Okay, I'm going to show you what has been marked as Court's Exhibit Number 2 for identification purposes. Do you recognize this?
yes.
What is that?
This is Lenora Bedola's victim impact statement.
Can you go ahead and please read that to me?
Yes. My name is Lenora Bedola. I am Tanya's stepsister, as well as her best friend. I am here to speak on behalf of myself, my family, and the loss we have all suffered since Tanya and her unborn child Josiah were taken from us. Tanya was a loving mother, a hard-working woman, and a bright light in all of our lives. She had an incredible sense of humor that made everyone around her feel at ease. She was so smart and resourceful, always looking out for others and putting them first. But above all, Tanya was my safe person. She was the one that I could confide in, the one who always knew how to make me laugh or comfort me when I was struggling. I told her everything, my joys, my worries, my fears. Not being able to speak to her anymore has left a hole in my heart that nothing can fill. Since her death, I have cried every day. I wake up with the ache of her absence, knowing that my kids will never get to spend time with their TT Tiny. We won't be able to go to the beach together again or share simple moments like going to the mall or eating out with our kids. I moved to Florida for the summer just to be closer to her, hoping we could make more memories. And now I'm left with the empty space she once filled so effortlessly. The pain of not having her here is unbearable. I miss the small things, the smell of her hair when she got out of the shower, her smile, and the warmth of her hugs. These are things I will never get to experience again, and it hurts more than I can express. Life is not the same without Tania. It will never be the same. There is a constant weight of sadness in everything I do, and I feel lost without her by my side. She was a part of my everyday, and now that part is gone. This profound loss that has shattered our family. Tania was not just a victim of this crime. She was a daughter, a mother, a sister, and a friend. Josiah, her unborn child, was a life we all looked forward to, and his loss is felt deeply. We are left behind with an emptiness that words can barely capture. I will carry the pain of losing Tania with me for the rest of my life, but I will also carry the love she gave. She was taken from us far too soon, and nothing will ever fill the void she has left.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as court exhibit number 3. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
This is the victim impact statement from Michael Reveron.
Okay. Can you go ahead and please read that one?
Yes. My name is Michael Reveron, and I am the proud older brother of Tania Wise. Tania wasn't just my sister. She was one of the strongest, most caring people I've ever known. She had this rare gift of being the life of the party wherever she went. Her laugh was loud, her smile was real, and she had a way of lighting up a room just by walking in. But beyond all the fun and energy, she had a heart full of love for her family and friends. Even though I was the older brother, Tania always acted like she was my second mom. She looked out for me in ways I didn't always notice at the time, but I feel every day now. She would show up at my job just to take me out to lunch. She would also come to my job just to spend time with me, sometimes staying for hours just to talk, laugh, and be together. She always offered support, encouragement, or simply a listening ear whenever I needed it. Some of my favorite memories are the simple ones. We used to go to the movies together, just me, Tania, and my nephew, Jamar. We'd laugh, share snacks, and just enjoy being around each other. That was our thing. It was peaceful. It was fun. Birthdays and holidays still feel empty, even after all these years without her laughter and presence. What used to be moments of joy are now constant reminders of what we have lost. Losing Tania has left me broken in ways that are hard to write. I feel anger, sadness, and emptiness all at once. I feel like a part of me is missing. I struggle to focus and to move forward because so much of my strength and happiness came from her. Even as her older brother, she made me feel grounded. Some days I find myself grabbing my phone, trying to call her to tell her about my day. On top of the grief, I now live with PTSD, depression, anxiety, and nightmares because of what happened to her. I relive the pain over and over in my mind, and some nights I wake up shaking and crying. It has taken a serious toll on my mental health, my sleep, and my ability to function day to day. The future has been forever changed without Tania. I think about all the milestones she will never get to experience. She will never see her nieces and nephews grow up or witness all the things they will accomplish. She will never meet her grandchild. She will miss the wedding we always joked I'd never have. I will never get to meet my unborn nephew or see all the great things he would have done. For me, I will never again have my sister, best friend to share memories with or to laugh with. Her absence leaves a void in my life that can never be filled. I hope that by sharing who Tania was and how she lived, that the court understands the depth of loss. We're not just grieving her absence. We're grieving everything she would have continued to be: a loving mother, a joyful sister, a loyal friend, and a light in our lives. This isn't just about the life that was taken from Tania and my unborn nephew, but the lasting impact their loss has had on me, my family, and all who love them. No words can fully capture the pain, emptiness, and grief we carry every day. Depth of our loss knows no bottom or end.
And I'm going to show you what has been marked as court exhibit 4. Do you recognize this document?
Yes, I do.
What is that?
It's the victim impact statement for Reyes Bedolla.
Okay. And when you're ready, you go ahead and read that.
My name is Reyes Bedolla. I am the stepfather of Tania Wise and the grandfather of her unborn son, Josiah Thomas Wise. I would like to talk about how much I miss them and how hard it is to live without them. Tania was amazing, funny, helpful. She was a bundle of joy. She was a loving, caring, and devoted mother who loved to play around with her son. Everywhere she went, she would smile. She was always there giving a helping hand to the family. She touched everyone with her kindness. We had built a strong bond. I knew her dream and what she wanted to do with her life, and I was going to be there every step of the way to support her. Her life was about her children and raising them. Losing her in this way has left me with a pain that never ends. I looked forward to welcoming my grandson, Josiah, into the world, but am now heartbroken as I have to come to terms with the fact that this will never happen. All I am left with are dreams of what he would be like today. Every time I see somebody else with a child, I imagine my beloved grandson and wonder about the things that could have been. I would have loved to watch Josiah take his first steps, play sports, and grow into a man. I will never hold him, play with him, or even spoil him, and he will never call Grandpa. I am so hurt my life will never be the same. I am raising Tanya's son, Jamar, and I see how he suffers for his mother. This emptiness that my family and I can never be filled. I ask myself, why are Tanya and Josiah? We struggle to move forward every day. I remember going to the beach with my wife, Tanya, and her son, Jamar. It was all about spending quality time together, and we all planned our future. Our conversation were all about family. I don't have this anymore. I have never been able to go back to a fun day at the beach as our family feels like we are not complete and are broken, and we are trying to piece it together to continue our next day. Our family is struggling to move forward while trying to honor their memory. Nothing will ever be the same. You're welcome.
And the people of the state of Florida call Johnny Reveron.
So can you raise your right hand and please support?
Please swear affirm that evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Morning.
Good morning.
Can you state your name for the record and spell your last name, please?
Yes, it's Johnny Reveron. Last name is Reveron.
Okay, and did you know Tania Wise?
Yes, she was my sister.
Your sister. Okay. I'm going to show you what's been marked as court exhibit number 5. Do you recognize this?
Yes, sir.
Okay, is that the statement you prepared?
Yes, sir.
Okay, when you're ready, go ahead and read that to the jury.
Yes, sir. My name is Johnny Reveron. I am Tanya's older brother. I stand before you today to speak not only for myself, but for my family and for Tanya's unborn child, who was never given a chance at life. The loss of my sister has devastated every part of my life. Tanya was not just my sister. She was my friend, a piece of my heart. She was carrying her child with such joy and anticipation. That child should be here with us, loved and cherished. But this life was taken before it even began. Just a month before this tragedy, Tanya and I spoke after she started working at the same company where I work. We talked about her excitement for this new chapter and how much she was looking forward to building her future. I never imagined that it would be one of the last meaningful conversations I'd have with her. Since her murder, my world has been turned upside down. I wake up every day with a heavy heart, knowing I may never hear Tanya's laugh, see her smile, or share the simple everyday moments that brothers and sisters are supposed to have. Holidays, birthdays, and family moments are now filled with pain because Tanya and her baby should be here with us. This tragedy has not only caused unbearable emotional pain, it's left lasting scars on my family's sense of security, stability, and peace. I struggle with grief, anger, and unanswered questions. I have lost sleep. I have lost hope, and I will carry this pain for the rest of my life. Tanya and her baby deserve to live. They deserve a future full of love and opportunity. Instead, what remains is a permanent void in my heart and in my family's life. Thank you for allowing me to share on how much I miss my sister.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. People in the state of Florida call Yaritza Irizarry.
Just raise your right hand and please support.
Please swear affirm that evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
And approve the witness.
Morning.
Good morning.
Can you state your name for the record and spell both your first and your last name, please?
Yaritza Irizarry. Jaritza. Last name Irizarry.
And did you know Tania Wise?
Yes, she was my niece.
And I'm going to show you what has been marked as court exhibit number 6. Do you recognize that document?
Yes, I do.
Okay, is that the statement that you prepared to deliver to the jury?
Yes.
Okay, when you're ready, go ahead and read that to the jury, please.
Your Honor, my name is Jaritza Irizarry, and I am the aunt of Tania. To me, she was more than a niece. She was like a daughter. Tania was beautiful, loving young woman whose life was taken from us in the most painful and senseless way. Her death has left us a permanent hole in my heart and in the heart of my family. Tania was a devoted mother. She loved her son, Jamar, with everything she had, and she was overjoyed to be pregnant with another baby Josiah. Not long before her murder, I hosted her baby shower. I could still picture that day, glowing with happiness, surrounded by her family, smiling as she opened gifts for her new baby. She was so full of hope for the future, so excited about raising her children, and so ready to begin a new chapter of her life. But that joy and that future were stolen from her, from Jamar, from all of us. Jamar has to grow up without his mother, and Josiah never even had the chance to take his first breath. Her loss has shattered our entire family. My sister, her mother, is broken. No parent should ever have to bury their child, and watching her live with this pain has been unbearable. Every holiday, every birthday, every family gathering feels incomplete without Tania. There is always an empty chair and a silence where her laughter should be. For me, it's the everyday moments I miss the most. We shared so many simple joys together, taking the kids to the beach, going shopping, eating out, or just cooking her favorite meal. I miss sitting with her, talking and joking around. She had this way of making everything seem better. No matter what I was going through, at times I wanted to pick up the phone and call her to tell her everything, like what I always did. But now there is only a silence. Those ordinary times that once brought me comfort and happiness now feel heavy and empty without her. The pain of losing Tania has affected me deeply, both emotionally and physically. I cry without warning. I struggle to focus to find joy in the things I once loved. I suffer from sleepless nights, nightmares, and anxiety. The grief sits in my body like a weight, leaving me exhausted and drained. A part of me died with her, and I will never be the same. The crime didn't just take one life, it took two. Tania's life was taken, and so was baby Josiah's before he ever had the chance to live. Jamar lost his mother, my sister lost her daughter, and I lost someone who was like my own child. Our family has been torn apart, and the pain we carry will never go away. Respectfully, Jaritza Irizarry.
Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. And people say Florida call Jamar.
So you can raise your right hand, please.
Do you swear affirm that evidence you're about to give to the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Over that way, witness.
Morning. Can you state your name for the record and spell your last name, please?
Jamar Bedolla, Bedolla.
Okay. And what is your relationship to Tania Wise?
She was my mother.
I'm going to show you what has been marked as court exhibit number 7 for identification purposes. Do you recognize that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, is that the statement that you prepared?
Yes.
Okay. When you're ready, can you go ahead and please read that to the jury?
Hello, I'm Jamar, and I'm the son of Tania Esther Wise, who was taken from us. My mother was the closest person to me, and she was like my best friend. Also, she was always there for me. I'm here to share a few to honor my mother and talk about how I was affected. Ever since that day, ever since that day, there have been many different ways that I've been affected emotionally. For example, I've developed depression, sleeping problems, and anxiety. Losing her made me go faster than I should have. I used to hide my pain and try dealing with it on my own, and to protect myself from getting hurt more than I was. And I didn't like talking about what was wrong with me. Every day, I think about how she won't be able to see what I've accomplished and what I will accomplish in the future. She's already missed some of my milestones that I've reached, and I think that she would have been proud of them. I wish that she could have met my first girlfriend and watched me perform in my musical performances for my school. I'm in marching band. My mom was also musically inclined. She played the clarinet, and I hope that she would be proud of what I've become. On that day, I've lost more than a mother. I also lost the chance to have my mother watch me grow, and I hope that she's proud of me for coming here and talking about how this has affected me. I choose to honor my mother because she was one of the most, if not the most important people who has been in my life.
Thank you.
That will conclude the evidence from the state.
Members of the jury, that concludes the state's part of the evidentiary portion of this penalty phase. As I mentioned, we're going to break at this time till 1 o'clock. Please remember the rules regarding communication. Don't discuss this case with anyone, including your fellow jurors. Enjoy your lunch, and we'll reconvene at 1 o'clock. And please leave your notes on your chairs.
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right, and you may inquire, Mr. Burns.
Thank
you. And I'll administer the oath to you. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
All right, and you may inquire, Mr. Burns.
Thank you, Judge. Can you hear me, Raul?
Yes, I can, sir.
Okay, tell us who you are, please.
My name is Raul S. Bonasco. I am a prison and jail expert who has been consulted to interview and give my professional opinion based on my experience in corrections and my education training on this case.
You are on Zoom. Are you not in Florida?
No, I am actually in Austin, Texas.
Are you working in Texas now?
I'm actually off for the afternoon, but yes, I do have a full-time employment, but I'm off for the rest of the day, sir.
Tell the jury about your education, please.
I have an undergraduate degree from Iona University in New York, with a focus on psychology, mind, and criminal justice. I have a master's in public administration from Florida Atlantic University in Boca Raton, Florida. I also have my certification as a public manager through the Florida Atlantic University Master's Program, and currently hold my certification as a jail manager through the American Jail Professional Commission. As well, I'm a certified corrections executive through the American Correctional Institution Organization on Professional Standards.
Are you working in jail or prison administration now in Austin, Texas?
Yes, I am.
How long have you worked in that field?
I've been in this field going on my 39th year. Started my social services public safety career in New York, did 2 years with the juvenile system, and in 1988 joined the Florida Department of Corrections as a corrections officer at the prison now known as Central Florida Reception Center in Orlando, Florida. During my approximately 20 years with the Florida Department of Corrections, worked my professional development through classification. I served as a supervisor as well as a probation supervisor, an assistant warden at 3 major institutions, warden at a major Hernando Correctional Institution, also served in the capacity as the director of training for the entire Department of Corrections for 2 years, and then transitioned into jail operations. I served as the major for the Orange County Jail in Orlando, the deputy chief and interim chief for Osceola County Corrections, and then retired from the Florida system, did some nonprofit work for 2 years, and then have ran jails in different states from San Antonio, Fort Worth, St. Louis, as well as now Austin, Texas.
So you have worked in corrections here in Florida?
20 years, yes, sir.
Okay. This man has some experience. I wanted to type in chat that when I Googled the witnesses for today, they give me a name and a brief description of the witness list. And that's what they put for his name, was a prison and jail expert. And then after I put that in chat, I kind of hesitated. I was like, wait, I don't want them people to be, y'all all to be thinking that's what I, because I don't know. But I take that back because this man, I think he's a prison and jail expert. We'll roll with that.
Are you familiar with Florida DOC policies and procedures?
Yes, I am, sir.
You're not here out of the goodness of your heart, are you? We're paying you for this work, correct?
Yes, sir.
How much do you charge per hour, sir?
My fees are $200 an hour to interview, review records pertaining to any case, as well as $225 an hour for testifying, and $110 for any travel time involved on any case.
How many hours have you put in on the Soto Escalera case?
16 and a half hours.
Is this your first time testifying in court, sir?
No, no, sir.
Where have you testified before?
I have testified in a variety of states, particularly Florida. I've testified on various cases from Dade County, Duval County, Lake County, Marion County, Lucie County, Lee County, Gadsden County, also in Panhandle, some of the Washington County, a variety of counties throughout the state of Florida, as well as done work in South Carolina, Louisiana, Georgia, Tennessee.
Do you testify always for the defense?
Yes, sir.
Has any state attorney's office, whether this one or anywhere else, ever used you as a consultant or consulted you on a case?
Not as a consultant, no, sir.
I'd like to talk to you, sir, for a moment or two about what life without parole would mean for an inmate so sentenced. Are you qualified to answer questions in that regard?
Yes, I am.
A person sentenced to Florida Department of Corrections to life without the possibility of parole, where are they housed? How are they housed in the system?
The way the process goes in the Florida prison system, like many, they are sentenced to a reception center in which they will go through 6 to 12 weeks, going through a battery of assessment processes for mental health, medical, classification, custody review, and then they're sent to a permanent facility. An individual who's sentenced to life will always be close custody. They will be sent to a facility that has that security level. Their requirement, once they are transferred to that permanent facility, they will go through an assessment process through classification, known as the institutional classification team process, in which they will be assigned a job. Every inmate who's serving life at a facility designed, they are required to work 60 hours a week. They are required to show up to work in addition to other obligations. They will be housed in the custody level, as we know, as 804 or 805, which means their housing facility assignment will be either with another inmate or several inmates, and after dark, they are secured behind 2 or 3 additional secure doors to ensure that that custody level doesn't have access to the compound as a whole. In addition to working 60 hours a week, they're required to get up at 4 o'clock in the morning. They're required to march down to chow hall, eat their meal within 7 to 10 minutes, return back to their assignment. They go through vigorous requirements. They get counted several times a day. They're told where to go, when to go. They have appointments to be at, and they're required to follow all the rules and regulations that the prison requires of them in that environment.
Is a prisoner serving life without parole, does such a prisoner shower every day?
Shower every day. They are given the option to shower in the evenings when the showers are open, but that is a communal shower environment in which they share in normal dormitories the ratio of maybe 15 showers for 250 inmates. There is a period of time in which the showers are open, and they have to take advantage of it. If they're not in that environment at that time or overslept, they just are not showered. They're also required to go to call-outs and have other obligations in which, when it comes to either the environment, TV, they share one communal TV per pod or per unit, in which they all have to decide what channel. So there's nothing individually catered to that individual inmate serving life. They have to share it with anywhere 70 to 150 inmates in that environment.
You indicated, I think, that a typical inmate serving life without possibility of parole is required to do work?
Yes. Every inmate, whether you have an impairment, you can be a wheelchair, medically declining individual, everyone is required to have a job assignment. It can be assigned as a houseman, and in this case, most of those who are healthy, they will be given an inside grounds job, which basically means they're given manual lawnmowers, they cut grass. We're talking big acre properties within the fence line. They also prepare meals. They keep up with the day-to-day maintenance concerns. If you have any skills in maintenance, painting, repairing sidewalks, landscaping, keeping the upkeep of the prisons, of these aging prisons, they're required to work 60 hours a week at their job assignment.
And a lot of their work is done to maintain the prison that holds them.
Correct. Basically, in the business of prison world, 85% of prisons upkeep are done by inmate labor and utilizing them to keep the facility operating.
So prisoners assist in cooking and cleaning and repairing and mowing grass, you said?
Yes, sir. They prepare meals, they launder the clothes, they paint the buildings, landscaping, and any kind of repair of plumbing or framing or any kind of construction repairs that need to be done within the prison.
What if the inmate says, no, I'm not going to do this work? What happens?
What happens when any prisoner or inmate refuses to work, they will get a disciplinary report. which basically is a rule infraction. Refusing to work, and what the process is, if you refuse to work, you get placed in administrative confinement, as we often know in the business as a whole, the confinement unit. You will go through an administrative process in which the individual inmate being charged with the rule infraction will have an opportunity for it to be investigated based on the officer's report. They can call for witnesses. At a period of time, they will come across the disciplinary board, which is 2 members and sometimes 3 members of the institutional classification team. At that time, they will plead their case, and that team will make the decision with what the outcome is. And in most cases, you're found guilty and you're given a sanction of time in disciplinary confinement. And in many cases, additionally, they will take gain time. And what happens is the individual will remain in disciplinary confinement with no privileges, no access to anything but his legal paperwork. And based on their behavior while in disciplinary confinement, they will be reviewed weekly. And eventually, if they meet all the expectations, will be released back to open population.
Let us talk about inmates who are not sentenced to life without possibility of parole, but who are sentenced to death and are awaiting their executions on death row. Can you describe a death row cell to us, please?
Yes, and those, if I can digress a little, those who are sentenced to death go through a different process. They will be normally taken to RNC in North Florida, get processed within a couple hours, and they're taken to either Unit Correctional Institution. An inmate who is sitting on death row, the environment is slightly different. These are individuals that are housed alone in a 6x9 cell with their assigned toilet and stainless steel sink. They are permitted to have their own TV in their cell. They are not required to work, and they are not required to leave their cell. The meals are brought to them. Their laundry is brought to them. They have changed things on death row in the last 2 years, in which now inmates on death row have more time outside of their cells. They have visits with families. They have a tablet assigned to them where they can communicate with their family. They have day room time in which they can interact with other inmates on death row, as well as have additional recreation time outside of their cell as well.
When a death row inmate is permitted time out of his cell, does he share that time with other inmates? Is he by himself? Tell us about that.
No, he shares it with several inmates, 5 to 6, 7 inmates, when they're in the day room time, so they're in contact with other inmates on the same status on death row. Recreation, they also have access to other inmates playing basketball and having more out-of-cell time with other inmates in the same custody level.
Why are the inmates sentenced to death? Why don't they work?
The requirement is that those individuals, because of their custody level, they're very limited work assignments, and because of security grades, the expectation of the high risk, those are individuals that are classified at maximum custody, and these are the individuals, because of their sentence, have to be watched at all times and placed in a secure environment. Given the work assignments, it's not conducive to that environment. Often they can help out if they want, but they're not required because of their custody level and the security aspects that go with it and supervising them.
It would not let me post this comment without me separating out words, what he gets. And the word, I was trying to figure out how YouTube kept eating it every time I posted. So I was like putting separations in the words. I think he deserves what he gets. He did the crime. That's all I was trying to type, and YouTube kept eating my comment.
Regarding death row, is there just one death row in one Florida prison and all those awaiting execution are there?
Yes, for the men, it's a Union Correctional Institution, and for the women, it's at the Bowl Correctional Institution.
How many are presently on death row, do you know?
Currently, approximately 358 on death row as of today.
It seems to me there have been a great number of executions so far just this year. Do you know how many?
I think approximately 12 this year. The 13th is scheduled for sometime this month, and the next one is tentatively scheduled in late October this year.
So there have been more executions than months in the year so far.
Objection, Mr. Ellis.
Yes.
I was not the one who contacted you initially on this case. Who contacted you regarding involving you in this Soto Escalera case?
That was back on June 3rd. Sherry Schwartz, Dr. Schwartz, who's a mitigation specialist, reached out to me.
So she knew of your reputation and work in this field then?
Correct. I worked with her on some of the cases.
What were you requested to do?
I was requested to review all his corrections records, whether at the county jail or if he had any kind of prior prison involvement, review his assessment, have an in-person structured interview, assess the records that were provided to me, and give my professional opinion on how his adjustment has been while he's been in a corrections environment, and in this particular case for the last 7+ years.
Do you review records? What do you do?
Yes, I review records. I reviewed in this particular case over 220 records, pages of records that were provided to me for the St. Lucie County Sheriff's Office jail operations based on his state since he's been assigned. He's been put there.
Did you get a chance to meet with or speak to Jose at any point?
Yes, I met with him on August 1st of 2025 for about an hour and a half at the St. Lucie County Jail, in which I had an in-person structured interview to meet with him.
Has Jose been in the St. Lucie County Jail since September 2018 consistently?
Yes.
Did you review any disciplinary reports regarding Jose Soto Escalera from the St. Lucie County Jail during his 7 years of incarceration?
Yes, I did.
How many DRs or disciplinary referrals did you see in the records?
He technically had 3, but the way some jails do it, they lump them together. He had a disciplinary report back in 11/14 of 2019, and it was for unauthorized area while count, in which basically he was found guilty of that. Basically, during the count time in which they account for inmates, he was not where he should have been. They accounted for him, but he was not in the assigned area, or we're taking 30 days probation, which basically means don't mess up again, or we'll take your privilege of this. And then in April 24th, 25, he had taken his table and some chairs to his cell, and they were getting ready to lock down so he could play cards. So they actually wrote him up at a plan and causing a disturbance to operations in which he should have done it, but unfortunately he got caught and he was given a disciplinary infraction in which he pled guilty to.
Any disciplinary referrals regarding fighting, violence toward other inmates or towards guards?
No, none of the records provided to me show any incidents or anything relating to any kind of violence, either with other inmates or with any of the staff or the corrections officers.
Do you yourself speak Spanish, sir?
Yes, I do.
Did you talk to Jose in English or Spanish or both?
I spoke to him in English. He speaks Spanish. We might have said a few words in Spanish, but everything was English-based.
Based on your training and years of experience and having reviewed the records, is 7 years of incarceration consistently sufficient for you to review Jose's situation and render an opinion about his future behavior while in custody?
Yes, sir. 7 years is a good amount of time in which someone who comes into a jail environment, corrections environment, to assess them based on how well they adjusted to the environment, both from a medical, physical perspective as well as behaviors. Yes, sir.
And what did you conclude specifically then about Jose Soto Escalera's suitability or unsuitability to be a prisoner?
What I assessed based on my years of experience and training, here had an individual who was booked for a crime which was well publicized. The individual has been in the county jail, which understanding the county jail environment and the prison environment, so it has its differences, where county jails have inmates that come and go every day from misdemeanors to major felony cases, where the population in the county jail is very fluid. Didn't see anything in his records that show that he had to remain in protective custody. Didn't see anything in his records that gave the impression or alluded to him not adjusting well. He followed all the rules. 7 years, he did receive 2 DRs. They were not major DRs. In fact, one was just getting probation. So at the end of the day, someone who's sitting in a county jail for 7 years with a fluid inmate population, where in that environment, inmates tend to try each other. They're either victims or victors. At the end of the day, he steered away from that. The records indicate he followed the rules. He stayed out of everyone's way. He didn't cause anyone any kind of challenges. And he's adjusted well in the prison, in the jail environment, which would indicate someone like him, when sent to prison, will adjust well, stature-wise, behavior-wise. He will follow the rules and regulations in that environment without any concerns, based on the records I reviewed.
When you met with Jose, did you have a chance to discuss his work history at all?
Yes, I did. I had the opportunity, part of the structured interview, to talk about education, in which he told me he did not obtain his high school diploma, but he did obtain many other trades. He has experience in the carpentry field, profession, construction, laborer, framer. Some of the skills that he's mastered in the construction environment was something he was very well versed and knowledgeable and had work experience in.
Do any of those skills and abilities equip him to be a useful worker as a prisoner?
Someone like him, based on my many years of experience, particularly intoxication, when they come to the reception center and end up at a permanent camp, what they do is they interview him based on his skills, because unfortunately prisons are, getting old and aged. So basically we assign work assignments. So every prison has assignments for carpenters, electricians, painters, general maintenance. And someone like him, who after a period of 60 or 90 days, who has done the entry-level jobs such as inside rounds and heat, and they've proven to be a good worker based on the review you will get every week and every month by the officers, will be basically assigned an assignment such as maintenance, so he can use his skills to help the upkeep of the prison. And basically, it's an opportunity for the prison system to have free labor at the expense of the inmate being held accountable to perform those duties based on the need of the institution.
Okay, I don't mean to interrupt this guy, but I'm going to tell y'all a little story. My father-in-law, my ex-father-in-law, my first husband, who ended up going to prison. My ex-husband went to prison, not my father-in-law. My father-in-law was a warden over the agriculture division in Sugar Land, Texas. And agriculture division back then, and we're talking 80s, I can remember the 80s, and they would pick all their own vegetables out there in the heat, because he was over the agriculture. They did corn, they did cabbage, they did potatoes. I remember, and as horrible as it was, do you know that the wardens and all the supervisors over the prison yard was given all this free food from all these inmates doing free labor and all that during that time? There was a big uproar with the Texas prison system back then, and a lot of stuff went down for the Texas inmate system with the use of prisoners for some of this type of labor. It really got out of control. So,
did Jose's charges and current placement at the jail for these 7 years render him ineligible from participating in jail educational programs?
Based on the records I've seen, and because we have cases like this, based on the category classification level, which he's at the highest level, they do not, most jails like St. Lucie do not offer them the opportunity to have those education programs. And most likely, when he goes into the prison system, that will be the same approach. The investment, if sentenced to life, will not be for someone like that, and they will utilize him for labor and what he can help is sweat equity and keeping the prisons upkeep.
Sorry, I'm not sure of the answer. Could you have to clarify that? If it's a yes or no, I'm not sure what the answer was.
Did you hear the judge?
Repeat it. Judge, Your Honor?
Yes. Could you clarify as far as how it's been in the jail and what it would be like in general population? It seemed to me that you're equating the two, and then there was a difference between the two. I wasn't sure what you were saying, what it would be like in prison and how it's been in the jail. You want to just clarify your answer?
Okay, Your Honor, so to clarify that, so in a jail environment, there's a lot of moving population types. So when I was referencing that, it was based on his adjustment in the jail environment. Most inmates who are in a jail environment for a long period of time sometimes fights and have aggressive behavior based on the type of inmates that come in and out of that jail environment. Based on his 7 years, he's adjusted well, which based on my experience, someone like him who ends up in the prison system should adjust well. The only difference in a prison environment, Your Honor, is those individuals are actually assigned to that prison for several years, and we assign them based on their labor skills and what they can do to keep the facility operating. Does that answer your question, Your Honor?
Thank you.
As long as Mr. Burns is comfortable with the answer, that's fine.
Yes, that's all right. Thank you, Judge. Now, I think you may have answered this question already. If this jury recommends that Jose be executed and that's what the judge orders, I think you said he would be welcomed into the system at the North Florida Reception Center, and then he would go immediately to death row in Union Correctional. Is that correct?
Correct. It's only within several hours. They basically process them and move them into death row status.
And if Jose was sentenced to life without parole, where would he go? Do you know?
Because in St. Lucie County, he would go to Central Florida Reception Center. There's actually 4 Midtown reception centers. He will be transferred to the reception center, in which he will remain there anywhere from 6 to 12 weeks as he goes into the assessment process. And based on his medical grade, dental grade, psych grade, his assessment for classification, as well as his security level, he will be assigned to a permanent prison throughout the state of Florida. either, and most likely will be in North Florida, where we have most of the prisons that house life inmates.
Now, in reviewing your notes here, I see that in Florida Department of Corrections, there are, or there must be facilities that are characterized as faith and character facilities. Is that correct?
Yes, they're known as faith and character-based facility, and often some of them are also in conjunction with incentivized prisons as well.
And would Jose be a good fit for a faith and character facility?
The criteria for that is something he would have to earn. You have to have anywhere from 24 to 36 months in the prison system without any rule infractions, any kind of violence, in which at that point, wherever he's assigned, he can put in for that. But that goes through an assessment process through classification and gets approved all the way to central office. So it's something that he would have to earn and not automatically considered for.
So you have reviewed Jose's records, you have met with him, you have the experience and education that you have told us about. Do you believe that Jose could contribute and be a contributor, even if it be only to the state prison system, if he were sentenced to life without parole?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, I do.
The jury has been told by authoritative sources before, but I'll ask you also, does life without parole mean life without parole in Florida?
Yes, everyone, because parole doesn't exist since the 80s. Every inmate who was sentenced to the Department of Corrections with life without parole will never leave the prison fence line unless they're required to go out for medical run, which the proper security components. Other than that, they would expire their life in prison and be removed in a body bag, sir.
Thank you. That's all I have for you.
Cross-examination?
No questions from the state.
May Mr. Bonasco be released at this time?
You may, Judge. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. All right, I'm going to end the Zoom, sir. Thank you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Are there other Zoomers or?
No, I have one person live.
Okay, so I will end the Zoom then. Okay. End the Zoom. And did you need a break at this time? Or?
No, we can proceed.
Okay.
The jury needs a break.
Does jury need a restroom break? No, we're good. Okay, you may call your next witness.
Is Lucinda Cook? May we have her?
Sure. Lucinda Cook.
Do you swear or affirm that evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but truth?
And you may inquire of the witness, Mr. Burns, when ready.
Thank you. Sit real close to that microphone in front of you, ma'am. Tell us who you are.
I'm Lucinda Cook.
Speak up nice and loud. Who are you?
I'm Lucinda Cook.
Okay, Lucinda Cook. You see Jose there?
I do.
How do you know him?
I used to date him many years ago.
Can you give us a time frame?
2006, for about 4 or 5 years.
2006 to 2010, 2011, somewhere in there?
12, yeah.
And how well would you say you know Jose?
I knew.
This could get into y'all, I tell y'all, I watched this blind with y'all, so okay, it's his ex-girlfriend.
The man that I was with back then very well.
You know that he has now been convicted of murdering a lady and her unborn baby, correct?
Yes.
How do you feel, ma'am? I got
And
questions.
you're not here to quarrel with the jury about that.
Let me interview her, y'all. Let me interview her. I've got all kinds of questions. Oh my God.
No.
But is it fair to say that you do not recognize that murder in the Jose that you knew?
Absolutely not.
What were your circumstances when you met Jose?
I was just getting out of an abusive relationship, 10-year abusive relationship.
Did you have children?
I have 30.
How old were your children when you met Jose?
4, 2, and a newborn.
How did you meet Jose?
A barbecue, a friend's barbecue.
And was it a slow developing relationship or swiftly developing?
I mean, both. I mean, we dated for a year before we lived together.
Did you live together for that 4 or 5 years? Yes, I need to say yes or no.
I did.
Okay, thank
Sorry.
you. Just so the record has it.
Yes.
Everybody knows what you mean, but the record needs to be clear. And you were about how old then when you met Jose in 2006?
24, 23.
When you were with Jose,
Hey, that's
how
my
was he
first,
with
sir.
your young children?
He loves children. He was very good with them.
And how did your children react to Jose?
They liked him as well.
How did you feel being in a relationship with Jose?
I was just getting out of an abusive relationship, so I wasn't very nice to him. But he did everything he knew to do to display a great characteristic of a man that my son should look up to.
Did Jose make you feel safe coming out of that relationship?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Your children also?
Yes.
You indicated that, I think maybe as a result of where your head was at coming out of that relationship, you said you were not always very nice to Jose?
I was not nice to the man at all. Sorry.
You were mean to him, I think you characterized. Is that correct?
Yes.
How so?
Everything was with an argument. Everything he did was wrong. I pushed his motorcycle down the driveway. I spit in his face and told him to leave.
When you had disagreements and arguments with Jose, did he get violent with you?
Never, ever.
I
didn't even get an argument out of him.
I think you just told us in one of your disagreements you spat upon him. How did he react to that?
Just wipe it off.
Hello,
You
Ed.
mentioned a motorcycle. Jose had a super duper tricked out motorcycle, yes?
Yes, sir.
Paint job, like chrome. He loved it.
It's a very uncomfortable laugh, Cindy. I find it, she is uncomfortable is how I'm seeing this. She does not seem okay sitting there. And I agree with you. It'd be a cold day in hell before I testify for him, even as an ex-girlfriend. No. Knowing she has 3 kids, she had a baby at the time when she got with, and now knowing who he is, why is she not second guessing this? Testifying for him. I'm bewildered.
What did you do to it?
Pushed it down the driveway.
Because you were angry at him?
Because he wasn't moving fast enough. I was really mean.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think was that toward the end of the relationship you had enough. You said he'd go, but you punctuated that request by damaging his motorcycle?
I was just mean, and he wasn't moving fast enough. I don't know.
What did he do?
Years ago.
What did he do when you did? Did he see you damage the motorcycle?
Yeah, he was right there.
What did he do to you?
Nothing. He just picked up the motorcycle and drove away.
So, despite provocations, you have not ever seen Jose to be violent. Is that so?
I've never seen the man be violent, and his occupation was a bouncer. I never even seen him fight a man.
And even when he was working security at clubs, he wouldn't fight.
Never. He was like a clown.
But there were other women in Jose's life, correct? And that's kind of why you ended with him.
I just had a drama-free life, and the extra drama from having multiple kids' mothers. I just didn't want my kids to witness it.
Yes, one or more of Jose's other women would occasionally come around and interrupt your life. Is that correct?
Because of their own problems, not necessarily my problems.
Would you describe Jose as easily excited and angered, or a calm person?
I'm not sure that I've ever seen him super angry, not to a violent state. I mean, mad at something at work or something, but not angry enough to do something.
You know, earlier today I told the judge, and then later I told this jury that a lot of witnesses I was counting on didn't show up, but you are here. Why have you come?
Joselito did everything during our 4-year relationship that he should have to display great characteristic of a man for my children. He would an example of a man that I should have probably treated a little better. And I was just, I can't sleep at night knowing that he's gonna lose his life. And I was so mean to him for no reason at all.
Well, we don't know that yet.
Wait, you gotta have
Do you want him to
reason,
lose his life?
ma'am.
No.
No, why is she downplaying her feelings? Stop, lady. You have feelings. They're justified. Don't.
I have from you, man. Thank you so much.
Cross-examination. So, okay, so let me just figure out the timeline here. It sounds like you started dating the defendant in 2006, is that right?
Yes, sir.
And then you broke up with him in 2013?
Late 11, 12. Yeah.
2012? Okay. And if I understand correctly, you used to work down here at the gas station located at Midway and Sullivan's, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And you used to see the defendant every once in a while when he came into the gas station, right?
Yes, sir.
And if I recall correctly, you did not speak to him when he came in.
I never spoke to him again until recently, after I left him.
Right. So when the defendant would come into the gas station, you ignored him
Treat him like a stranger.
and treated him like a stranger. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So and then from 2012 up until just a few weeks ago, you didn't speak to him at all.
Absolutely not.
Right. So 13 years went by and you didn't speak a word to him.
Absolutely.
Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And then when you did speak to him again just a few weeks ago. Was that after the trial started?
I'm not sure. I didn't follow it or his situation. I've been getting phone calls from his children trying to get me to talk to him, but I didn't know why. I didn't know, I didn't follow it. I don't watch TV. So I didn't know what was really going on. And I prayed on it for a while before I made my decision to help him.
You're okay to
Okay,
be
but you said you spoke to him for the first time after 13 years a few weeks ago. So my question is how many weeks? 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks? How many? What would you say?
Let's go with a month. I don't know. I wasn't really recording dates. I didn't think I was.
A month. Okay, gotcha. And a lot can change with somebody after 13 years. Is that right?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right. Perfect.
Thank you.
Can you redirect?
No, you are. Thank you.
Okay. May Ms. Cook be released from subpoena if she is under subpoena?
Yes, sir. She's on speech.
Any objection?
No.
Thank you, Ms. Cook. You're
No,
released
I
from your
don't
subpoena.
object
At this time,
either.
you're free to stay or leave as you wish.
Miss Cook, you should have never
Okay,
came.
counsel, if you want to approach.
No. Okay, they're done for this day. We're going to switch to day 2 of sentencing phase. Oh God, she should. Y'all have so many thoughts about that. She should not have done that. Just was no, ma'am. Absolutely no, ma'am. You haven't seen him for 13 years, and you're going to pop up here and say something nice about him on his murder trial to keep him from getting the. No, ma'am. No, ma'am. I'm sorry. Okay, on to day 2, and we're just going to jump right into the witness 3 is Carrie Schwartz.
Used with regard to their conduit witness, just to put the evidence before you. And Mr. Burns, if you want to explain to the jury what the item is.
Thank you, Judge. Right. A couple of months ago, a lady that we of the defense had hoped to use as a witness came and gave a deposition. The way it works in Florida, if the state lists witnesses, we get to ask them questions. It's a deposition. And when we of the defense list witnesses, the state gets to ask them questions. So there's no trial by ambush or anything in Florida. And in a deposition, the witnesses are sworn to answer truthfully. So this is a lady who came in. Her name is Madeline Colon. She spoke and gave this deposition under oath on July 7th, 2025. And with the agreement of the state, we're going to, and following the methodology that they used earlier in their case in chief, we're going to read it to you. I will be playing the part of Mr. Richardson, who was asking the questions. I feel like I should borrow his white hair for this role. But I will be playing the part of Mr. Richardson, and Ms. Schwartz here, who is my mitigation specialist in the case, will be reading Ms. Colon's words. Okay? Are you ready, Ms. Schwartz?
I'm ready.
All right, we're on page 3, gentlemen. Go ahead and state your name for the record, please.
Madeline Colon.
Okay, and a few background questions. Have you ever been arrested before?
Yes.
Okay, for what?
Driving on a suspended license.
Okay, what county was that in?
That was here when I moved. I want to say probably 2007, 2008.
Okay, and I assume that was a misdemeanor?
Yes.
Okay, and were you convicted?
I had to do probation.
Okay, gotcha. Any other arrests?
No.
Have you ever been convicted of a felony?
No.
Have you ever been convicted of a crime of dishonesty, such as theft or worthless checks or things of that nature?
Hold on. I think it was also when I moved here, like an $11 check from Publix, but that was a long time ago.
Okay, was that in St. Lucie County?
Yes.
Okay, do you recall what happened to that?
No, they stated that I had insufficient funds in my account. It was like $11 and some change. That's how I found out, because I got arrested on Halloween night. I was on the passenger side and the driver pulled over because I was sick, and they took me to jail and not the driver because they said I had a warrant out for my arrest for an $11 check, which I didn't remember.
Okay.
But that was like when I first moved here.
Okay. And how do you know Jose Soto Escalera?
He's the father of my child.
Okay, and when did you first meet him?
I moved here 2007. I probably met him probably the same year that I moved here because I...
Wait, did she say the father of her child? I think she said father of her child.
Had Antonio. Wait, about the end of 2007, beginning of 2008.
Okay, you said several times you moved here to Florida. Where did you move from?
Michigan, Detroit.
Detroit, Michigan?
Uh-huh.
Okay, and how did you meet Jose?
Social media.
Okay.
MySpace.
On MySpace?
Uh-huh.
So the days before Facebook?
Correct. That's when I found out. I'm like, oh, what was his name? Tom? I'm like, he owes me child support.
Okay, gotcha. And did you never married Jose?
No.
You were never married to him?
No.
But you did have a child?
Correct.
What is the child's name?
Antonio Escalera.
Okay, and what is his date of birth?
10/20/08.
Okay, and how long were you in a relationship with Jose Soto Escalera?
It wasn't long in the beginning because I moved here in 2007. We met, I ended up pregnant. We moved in November.
Moved in together in November?
Moved in together in November.
Okay.
Of 2007. And then we split up after I found out I was pregnant because he was in another relationship with somebody else. I was the rebound girl and I didn't know.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So how many months would you say you were in a romantic relationship with Jose Soto Escalera?
I came here before July 4 because it was my birthday, September. So probably July, August, September, October, like 4 or 5 months.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
Did you maintain a relationship with Jose Soto Escalera after you had your child, Antonio?
As in romantically, we did try to make it work for about a year, and then we split up again because we figured it was better off us being friends.
Okay.
Because Jose kept me and the other girl.
I'm gonna go.
And you're motioning with your hands. Do you mean he was having
Back and forth.
relationships with other women?
Yeah.
Myself and the other girl he was with before I found out.
Okay, gotcha. And after the romantic relationship was completely severed,
Uh-huh.
did you maintain any kind of relationship with Jose?
Yes.
Okay.
We're friends.
Okay, so you were still his friend?
Absolutely.
Okay, and did he pay you child support?
No, he didn't have to. We had an agreement that he would take Antonio. When he would drop him off on Sundays, he would bring groceries, school supplies when it was time for school. I would get him his shoes because I'm very picky about the sneakers. He would get him clothes and supplies. And then him and his wife would pay for the Boys and Girls Club.
Okay, and did Jose actually honor that agreement?
Yeah.
He did?
Yeah.
So was this I have questions. Was this I'm trying to figure out dates because I don't remember the year she said. I thought she said 2013. So did he have his other kids then with his wife and this was another affair like Tanya? What is happening?
So Jose does not owe you any additional money?
No, I don't. I mean, you have a responsibility. You know, we made a kid together. This is what you do. This is what I do.
Okay, gotcha. And what do you do for a living?
I'm a receptionist. I work at a doctor's office.
At a doctor's office?
Uh-huh.
Okay, great. During the entire length of your relationship with Jose Soto Escalera, has he ever been violent with you?
No, he actually helped me out because I came from Michigan because of a domestic violence situation with my older 2 children.
Number 2, saving a domestic violence person per se. What did he do with Tanya? She was being abused by her pimp and all this crap that he said, and he was saving. Sir, I see a pattern. Just saying, I see a pattern.
I sent my older son here with my mom, and then the last straw for me was when their father broke into my 2nd-story home. I thought I was going to be dead, so I took my younger son, my middle child, and moved over here to Florida.
Okay.
And then I met him. That's why, I don't know, it was just fast. But he showed my second son how to ride a bike. My second son says that's his father. And then I ended up pregnant with Antonio.
Okay, and you said Jose helped you following the domestic violence?
He made me feel secure, made sure that I was okay being in another relationship because I was with my first kid's father for like almost 10 years.
Okay, and how exactly did he help you feel secure?
How do we say? We have setbacks like PTSD. I've had a lot of triggering moments, as in if I see an argument, like if we're having a conversation and it gets a little bit heated and you're confronting me, that makes me pull back because of the situation that I was in before. And he just never made me feel like I needed to be worried about going into another room or going to spend the night at my mom's house. I was never scared. Even I'm a little hot-headed, so I would be the aggressive one and I would start things and he would just leave and then come back.
Okay. It sounds like you guys had a fairly deep relationship. Is that fair to say?
We did. I mean, coming from where I came from to then coming here to meeting him is completely different. Living in Detroit, coming to Florida is just like, wow, you know, the people are different, the atmosphere, the way you dress, the way you talk, family-wise. It was just, everything was there. Him and his family, me and my kids, they invited us everywhere and never was like worried about leaving my kids with him. It was never that feeling.
Would you say you had a close relationship with Jose?
Yes,
Okay.
I think we still do.
Still do?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Okay. Meaning that you would talk about things that perhaps you would not talk about with an acquaintance or simply a friend?
Correct, because I would feel he would never judge me.
Okay, so Jose was non-judgmental.
No,
And you would share things with him on an emotional level that you would not necessarily share with somebody else?
correct.
Okay, and did that street run both ways? Did Jose share things with you?
I thought he did until I found out that I was the second girl.
Okay.
And I was not the main one, but he was very good with it. You know, he would say that because he was security, so he would work during the day and then he did security at the bars at night. So that made me feel like, okay, he's doing his work. He needs to come home because he needs to make sure everybody is home after 2 o'clock, after 3 o'clock when they close the bars.
Okay. Did Jose ever share anything with you regarding his childhood, the way he was brought up, anything of that nature?
I do not know about him when his first children's mother got together in Connecticut. He told me about that story.
Tell me about that.
How they moved over here. They were young. She was a little bit older than him. So he was kind of like in the streets being a rebel, not going to school. And then his mom didn't force him to go to school. He met some Hispanic family, which they call themselves brothers now. They all moved over here together when Aracelis was pregnant with their first child.
Okay, you said the name of a woman. Can you repeat that?
Aracelis.
How do you spell that?
Aracelis. I don't know. I know her last name is Lopez. That would be his first children's mother.
His first child's mother's name is Aracelis Lopez.
Correct.
And how old was Jose when he fathered that child, if you know?
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, 16, I think, around there.
Okay, have you ever met that child?
Yes.
What is that child's name?
Jose.
Jose Soto Escalera Jr.?
I don't know if he has the Soto Escalera because after a certain amount of years, they found out that he was not his child.
They found out that?
Aracelis told Jose after, I think 18 or 19 years old, she called Jose and Jose Jr. and had to sit down and told them, hey, by the way, he's not yours, but Damien is. So I feel like if he was about to snap on anybody at that moment, he should have, because that's, excuse my language, pretty shitty. But if she wasn't certain as well, maybe that's probably why it was never brought up.
Okay, so let me just fill in some blanks. The person who told Jose
is the mother.
Okay, just to be clear, so Miss Enlow here is taking down everything that we say.
Oh, okay.
So I know it's hard to, we don't have conversations like this normally, but if you would just wait until I finish my question before you answer, I'd appreciate that.
Okay.
It just makes her job easier.
No problem.
So the person who told Jose that Jose Jr. is not Jose Sr.'s father is, what is her name?
Aracelis Lopez.
Lopez?
Lopez,
Okay, gotcha. And you also mentioned the name Damien.
That's their second child. Jose has 4 children.
So Damien, and what's Damien's last name?
Escalera.
Okay, and Damien is the son of Aracelis.
Lopez, correct.
Okay, and so what you're saying is that Damien is the biological child of Jose Soto Escalera.
Yes.
Okay, and the source of your information for this story is Jose Soto Escalera.
Yes.
He told you that?
Yes.
Okay. Have you spoken to Aracelis?
Yes.
Okay, did she give you the same account?
Yes.
Okay, have you spoken to Damien?
Yes.
Okay, does Damien give you the same account?
It was conversated once. They're really kind of private with themselves, so it's not something that we just bring up. But it was known once everybody found out, and that was left alone.
Okay.
But Jose still treated Jose Jr. as his own.
As far as you know, did Jose Soto Escalera treat Damien well?
Yes.
Okay, how do you know that?
Because we were together when they would come over. And his third child, which is Joel Maldonado, he would also come over. He's with a different mother.
Okay.
They would come to my house. Aracelis would leave the kids over. But the older two were able to travel themselves because they are older children. So they would come to my house without their mother or without Jose being there. They would just come over.
Okay. Have you ever seen Jose Soto Escalera treat any of his children with anything other than respect?
No.
Okay, he's been a good father?
Correct.
As far as you can tell?
From my understanding, the first 3 he did pay child support for. The only one was my child because I didn't feel like there was a need because I saw how he took care of his other children. Clothes, shoes, haircuts, whatever they needed, Jose was there.
So obviously if Jose Soto Escalera is having this conversation with you and he's telling you these intimate details of his life,
yes.
Did he trust you?
Absolutely, because he cried, and he's not much of a crier. He was hurt.
I understand. Okay, let me ask you this. Has Jose Soto Escalera ever told you anything about being abused as a child?
No.
Okay, as far as you know, was Jose Soto Escalera ever abused as a child?
No.
Okay, same question for being sexually molested. Has Jose Soto Escalera ever told you anything about being sexually molested?
No,
Okay, do you know anything about that?
no.
Okay, and I'm not suggesting he was.
Oh, okay. I'm like, what? Oh my God.
No, I'm not suggesting he was. I'm trying to find out if he was.
Okay, shoo.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Did Jose Soto Escalera ever reveal anything to you about his biological father?
He told me that he moved to Puerto Rico. He really didn't have much of a relationship with him. He told me that he was pretty tall because we were trying to figure out how our son is taller than the other ones. And Jose is not that tall for me. I don't think he is. He's pretty average of a man height. But he's like, oh, he should get that from my father because he's, I think, over 6 foot or something. That's pretty much the base that we've spoken on his dad. I've never met his mother either.
Okay. Did Jose reveal anything else to you about his life that was upsetting to him, Jose?
Besides that, he really didn't have much of a communication with his dad. No, not really.
Okay, was Jose ever involved in any kind of street gangs or anything while he lived in Connecticut?
That I don't know.
You don't know?
Uh-huh.
Did you still maintain a relationship with Jose in August of 2018?
Yes, absolutely.
When was the last time prior to that date that you had an in-person conversation with Jose Soto Escalera?
We would see each other every week because he would pick up Antonio every weekend.
Okay, he saw him on the weekend?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
It was either Friday. If he was not there to pick him up, it would be Debbie. But he would make sure that he was there on Sundays because he would bring the groceries to my house.
All right. So there's verification that it was while he was still married to Deborah that all this happened, because she just said Debbie picked up Antonio. This is messy as hell.
Okay, but you would see him on the weekends?
Uh-huh.
Is that a yes?
Yes.
Okay, did you ever see him on like a Thursday night?
Sometimes. It depended if my son wanted to go and see his dad, because we remained friends, and I honestly thought me and his ex-wife were cool too. Like, I didn't have any bad vibes or anything towards anybody. So whenever they said, hey, I want to see Antonio, can we meet up or can you bring him by? Antonio was asking me to see his dad. I'll call them. If they're home, I will take him. It can be any day of the week, but mostly I would see him like either Friday or Sunday when it was like pick up or drop off.
Okay.
Or if I had to pick up a check from them for the Boys and Girls Club that they couldn't drop it off, I would swing by their house and they would give it to me and I would give it to them.
Okay. Have you ever seen Jose use was he ever violent with anybody?
No.
That you saw?
The most I've seen was somebody that he had to like manhandle to get out of the club because they were about to fight.
Okay. Can you tell me about that?
Just to break up a fight. You know how the security have to grab you by your arms to drag you out and then leave them out, and that's it.
Where was this? You said it was at a club?
It's I'm trying to remember because the club is not open anymore. But you know the turnaround by Jensen, where you go to Jensen Beach, you're going over the bridge. You can go right towards Stewart. I think it is, but it has a CVS. I'm trying to remember the name of that place. I believe it's a restaurant now, Copacabana. I think that's what it was called. Yes, he was security there.
Jose worked as security there?
Correct. Uh-huh.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's what it was called, was Copacabana.
And about when did Jose break up that fight? What year? 2018, 2015, 2016?
No, that's when him and I were dating. So like 2011, 2012.
Okay.
Yes, that was back then.
But
when him and I were dating.
That was about the only time that you've ever seen?
Uh-huh, because on Thursdays we used to go to bike night. He used to ride motorcycles. We had our own little, like friends, like our little friend group. We would meet Jetty, Luris, home.
You've never seen Jose be violent?
Uh-huh.
Is that no?
That's a no.
Okay.
Listen, I burned his clothes.
What do you mean by that?
I had a moment. After I had Antonio, he was still with the other girl. I found out, so I took Antonio out of the crib, put him in Jose's truck because Jose had a brand new F-150. It was red 4-door. He had a very nice motorcycle. It was a Thursday and he was out and about, so I found out where the girl lived. I went by her house. I called him because I saw his motorcycle there. They came out. I was the aggressive one. He kind of like picked me up and threw me in the truck, and he was like, you can't do this here. You're not in Michigan. You're in Florida. So I went and made a U-turn. I friggin' broke her mailbox, went home, parked his truck, went inside the house, took the baby, put him in the crib, grabbed all his belongings, went outside. I keyed his truck. I burned his clothes.
Okay.
I gave him like 3 or 4 flat tires. I almost busted all his windows. I called his sister and she's like, don't do it, Maddie. But I didn't bust his windows. But I only did, yeah.
Okay.
And he didn't, like when he came, he didn't park his motorcycle at home because his motorcycle was his prized possession. It was really nice. So he left it in the middle of the street and he's like, what are you doing? And I'm like, going crazy. And he's like, they're going to call the cops on us. And I'm like, I don't fucking care. So yeah. And I even took his phone. He was talking to his sister to come pick him up. I even took his phone out of his hand and I broke it in half. And he still didn't
He still didn't what?
No, he didn't put his hands on me. He was just trying to calm me down. He's like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, no, this is when I told you exactly what I was going through and you put me through the same situation and maybe even worse.
Okay, and did the police ever get called?
They did not, thank God, because I was not trying to go to jail with an infant and 2 children at home. It was just a stupid reaction.
Wow.
Okay. Is there anything else that you can tell me about Jose Soto Escalera that would assist the court system in figuring out this case?
I honestly feel that he should have been honest on having a relationship with Tania or having a sexual relationship with her, because it's nothing new that he's always had 2 women in his life and one of the 2 was always pregnant. It was like a pattern from my understanding. First baby mama, then to second baby mama, and then to me. So he's always had 2 women. So what was the difference in this case? Because you married somebody else, which was older than you?
Uh-huh.
I don't know. It's just weird to me. That's all.
And we will conclude there. Thank you.
All right, and the defense next witness or item of evidence.
Judge, may we have Joanne Stone summoned from the hallway?
Do you swear affirm that evidence you're about to give will be the truth and the whole truth and nothing but the truth?
I do.
And you may inquire of the witness.
Thank you, Judge. Good morning. You see that microphone right in front of you?
I do.
Sit real close to it. Tell us who you are, ma'am.
Hi, I'm Joanne Stone. I am the cousin to Jose Escalera.
Where do you live, Joanne Stone?
I live in Bridgeport, Connecticut.
How long have you lived there?
My entire life, 41 years.
And you said that you are Jose's cousin.
I am.
How well would you characterize
I
that
was
you know
thinking
him?
the same thing too.
Well, Jose and the rest of us were all brought up together. So we're all like brothers and sisters.
The purpose of your testimony is to help the jury learn something about Jose's character.
Right.
What can you tell us about his character? Have you ever seen him to be violent?
He was never violent. He was always humble, very quiet, and he was the fixer. He fixed everything with us. If the girls, there was more girls than there was boys. So the girls argued a lot. Jose would fix it. Jose never showed signs of any anger at all. And he actually left Connecticut because it was becoming very, very violent.
Well, that was going to be one of my questions too. What type of neighborhood did Jose grow up in? Was it violent?
We grew up in a very terrible neighborhood. We lived really up the street from one of the world's worst projects, which was Father Panic Village. And in the 90s, the crime rate had went up, and it went up massively, more so in the 2000 era, and it's actually worse today.
Usually high crime areas go hand in hand with low income. Were you rich, wealthy people?
We were not.
Were you on any government assistance of any sort?
Not that I know of.
What type of work was done by the breadwinners in the family?
Our grandmother was a cook. Jose's dad was a bus driver. His mom was a stay-at-home mom.
A school bus or a city bus?
City bus driver.
And how much schooling did Jose have? Did he graduate high school, if you know?
Well, Jose left at around 16 years of age, so no, he did not graduate high school.
He left for where?
Florida, to live.
Did he stay in touch with you?
He stayed in touch with the entire family.
When you mentioned that he would sort of act as a mediator or peacekeeper among squabbling sisters and cousins, correct?
Right.
Would you characterize Jose as having been a positive influence on you or other family members when he was with you in Connecticut?
Yes, he ended up having a baby, and his decision was to leave and have a better life for his baby. Him and his son's mother left together. I believe she was a little older than he was, if I can remember. I am one of the smaller ones in the family, but I do remember them all really well. And they came here to start a great life, and he did exactly that.
Have you stayed in touch with Jose during these 7 years while he's been in our county jail?
I have not stayed in touch with Jose. He contacts, whoever he speaks to in the family. I hear about anything through my eldest aunt, but I have not. I've been going through my own personal stuff with my children and grandchild.
Okay, but you follow along vicariously through other family members.
Yeah, through the great aunt.
This is the jury who will be making a weighty recommendation to the judge about what should happen to Jose. And the choices are he should be sentenced to death or he should be sentenced to life without parole in Florida prison. What is your position?
Objection.
Sustain the objection.
Is there anything else that you would like the jury to bear in mind while they make their decision?
Yes, I would like the jury to have mercy over him because you guys made your decision and I respect your decision. But he's not.
Wait, what? What did she say that made him jump to that? I need to back up just a second.
Is there anything else that you would like the jury to bear in mind while they make their decision?
Yes, I would like the jury to have mercy over him because you guys made your decision and I respect your decision. But he's not.
The objection sustained. Okay.
If you have anything that you would like the jury to consider that doesn't have to do with them exercising mercy, anything you want them to, anything you'd like them to know about Jose's character?
Well, Jose is a good person. We all went to church. We came from a terrible background, but we all stood together whole as a family. He's a good dad. He's a good friend. He's a good relative. And I just don't know him for this.
Thank you. You have traveled down here from Connecticut to deliver this testimony, yes?
I have.
Thank you very much. That's all I have for you.
Brave woman to come all the way from Connecticut with his wife there.
Okay, so I just want to put a final point on some of the things that you discussed just now, okay?
Yes.
I believe you said that you knew Jose essentially all his life.
All his life.
Right? And you're related how?
I'm his cousin.
You're his cousin. Okay. And you lived very close to Jose when he was growing up as a small child, correct?
Yes, we all lived in an apartment building.
Right. So you're familiar with him?
Right.
Okay.
He taught me how to ride a bicycle.
Mm-hmm.
And like a really big bike. He taught us everything that we needed to know. He taught us how to be like handy girls, how to use a hammer. He taught us basically what we didn't have a brother, so he was our brother.
Sure. And when you grew up, you had a considerable number of family members around you when you grew up, right? Meaning that.
No, this is actually what she says she is his cousin. They all grew up together. No, you'd have to rewind for the two that he cheated on with his wife. Well, the first one, I'm not sure, but the second one, he definitely cheated on his wife with and had a baby with. So, yeah, those are interesting.
He was exposed to his family members as well.
Yes, at all times.
Okay. So, and you're familiar with all those folks?
Yes.
Who lived with him?
Yes.
Okay. So, you know that the defendant, first of all, he was never sexually molested, right?
I do know that.
Okay. He was never physically abused, correct?
No, he was not.
Okay. And in fact, you even said that not only was he never emotionally abused, right? I think you told me out in the hall that nobody had ever been yelled at him when he was a child.
No.
Is that right?
Right.
Okay. Okay. And to put a finer point onto your relationship with him since he moved to Florida. Okay. So let's focus in on that. He moved to Florida when he was 16 years old.
Right.
Around 1993.
Right.
Okay. And you would have not, you did not see him physically in person between 1993 and 2018, but just a handful of times.
Right.
If ever.
No, he came a few times.
Okay.
To Connecticut, and he stopped to visit us. There was a time I heard he was there. I was down in Jamaica burying a relative. So there's times where I missed it, but he came and I heard about it.
Okay. Okay. But your best estimate would be probably less than 5 times. Is that fair to say?
Right. Between
Between 93 and 2018.
Right.
Okay. And you haven't had any contact with him. I think you said on direct examination for the last 7 years since he's been incarcerated. Is that right? Okay. All right. Thank you, man. I have no further questions.
Thank you.
No, thank you so much, man.
Thank you.
Thank you. You may step down from the witness stand. And the defense next witness or piece of evidence.
May we have Taisha Hernandez called to the stand?
We asked her first.
Sure.
Okay, so the next one is Taisha Hernandez, and this is witness 5. Yeah, they haven't shown the wife or said anything about the wife. I mean, she's like been incognito. I don't know. We haven't seen or heard from her or anything. Now, I do know, looking at the thing, that his mom, Carmen, speaks, but this is a cousin, and the next one's also a cousin, but that's it. His wife doesn't come up. They haven't said to her that she was in the audience or nothing. So I don't even know what she looks like. They've never really pointed her out or said anything who she is.
Please refer to the evidence you're about to give to the church, all children of the church.
Yes.
All right, you may inquire the witness.
Okay, speak nice and loud right into that microphone. Tell us who you are.
My name is Taisha Hernandez.
How you spell your name?
Taisha.
And Hernandez Standard?
Yes.
You see Jose?
Yes, I do.
How do you know him?
That's my cousin.
Speak up nice and loud.
That's my cousin.
He's your cousin. Did you and he live together or very near each other in Connecticut?
Yeah, we all lived in a building, all our family members together in one building. Like basically we all left doors open, so it's like we all lived together.
Are you Jose's older, or I think you're younger?
I'm the youngest cousin, yes. One of the youngest cousins.
Regarding Bridgeport and your particular neighborhood in it, was it nice? Was it criminal? Was it violent? You tell us.
It's not a place you want to raise your family in, so it's not nice, or it's what you make it.
And Jose, as a teenager, left the area?
Yes.
To come here to Florida?
Live a better life.
You approve that decision?
Yes, I would too. It was everybody's plan. It's always been our family's plan to get out of Connecticut and come this way.
I don't think it was very successful. Why did it just stop?
So raising our kids is like, yeah, I'm gonna move here and this is where I'm gonna raise my kids to give them a better life and everything else. But, we're stubborn and life doesn't work for us that way as fast. But he's always want to help me. I can move in with them. They'll help me find a job, put the kids in a better school system and stuff like that. He's always caring, always put other people first before him.
When Jose came down here, he worked?
Yes.
And you just told us, I think, even though I don't think you maybe were able to carry through on it, Jose encouraged you and other family members to follow.
Help, always help, yep. He was our support system if we come until we got on our feet.
He encouraged you to a better life?
Yes, always.
Have you observed Jose at any point to be violent?
Never.
Have you observed Jose at any point to exhibit kindness or generosity?
He's always kindness. He would put somebody else first before him. That's how nice he is.
We heard some testimony that some of the female cousins of Jose's might squabble and disagree among each other. How would Jose handle that?
He doesn't like us to be fighting. That's one thing. We're family oriented. We're supposed to be there for each other.
While Jose's been in jail here in Florida on this charge, have you stayed in touch with him?
Yes, I have.
Nice and loud.
Yes, I have.
How?
By phone.
Have you put any money on his canteen account?
No, his mom and my aunt.
What's his mom's name?
Soto Escalera.
Was Jose able to finish out and obtain a high school diploma, do you know?
I don't think so.
Did Jose grow up in wealth and affluence, or did he not have money?
No, we all struggle. He wasn't raised that way with money.
Is there anything that you would like the jurors here to carry in their minds regarding Jose's character when they figure out what to do here?
Jose is a very loving, kind guy. I respect the decision you guys made, but that's not the Jose I know. And like I said, he loved his kids, loved his family, he always put us first before anything else, and he's overcaring. Respectfully, even talking to him from jail, he's always positive and still guides me to today to do better.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For coming. All questions I have for you. The state may have some questions.
Cross-examination?
No questions.
All right. You may step down. Thank you, Mr. Hernandez. And the defense next witness for item of evidence.
Judge, if we could have Monica Roquiza. Monica Roquiza.
Exactly, Cindy, exactly. I mean, at this point, it's like, they're all talking but how long has it been since she was actually around him? You know what I'm saying? How long has it been since she was around him?
Do you swear or affirm that the evidence you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I swear.
Thank you.
And you may inquire of the witness.
Thank you, Your Honor. Sit real close to that microphone you see in front of you there and talk up loud. Tell us who you are, ma'am.
I'm Monica Ropiza,
And how do you spell your last name, Monica?
Ropiza.
You see Jose over there?
I do.
How do you know him?
That's my cousin.
Did you know Jose in Bridgeport, Connecticut?
I did.
Tell us about the family circumstances there in Bridgeport at that time.
We lived in a rough neighborhood. We stayed pretty close. We were, really family orientated. Jose was like my big brother. He still is. He always made sure that he, did positive things and told us positive stuff.
Just for discussion, I wouldn't want to scrap with any of these women. They would kick my ass. I mean, they look like,
You would characterize him as a positive influence on you and the others?
Good role model.
The neighborhood was rough. Can you expand on that a little bit for us, please?
We lived where there was drug dealers, people who's always fighting, crazy people around us. We always stayed united as family. We try not to be around stuff like that, try to do good stuff.
But you could not avoid seeing it.
No.
And Jose would have seen it also.
Yeah.
The based on the answers thus far, may we assume that you and Jose and the family did not have a lot of money?
No, we have what we needed.
You mentioned the closeness of the family. Do you still stay close to Jose?
I do, not as much as when we were young.
was that his casual way of saying y'all grew up poor? I mean, come on.
But I do, we talk. I visit, he visit us. We moved down here for 5 years, me and my sister. When we were younger, yeah. After Jose moved down here, then we moved down with our father. And we stayed down here for about 5 years and came back. Well, we kept
And you would interact regularly with Jose while you were in Florida?
Not every day, but yeah, we did.
Have you ever seen or heard of Jose doing anything violent?
No, Jose was never violent. He was always cool, calm, collective, always giving us advice, make sure we don't fight, we're not doing wrong things.
But you do know what he is convicted of now here in this case?
I respect the jury's, decision. I don't know him to be that person at all.
Has Jose, within your observation and direct knowledge, exhibited kindness or generosity, anything like that?
He's always kind. He's always happy, positive.
Well, these are the folks who are going to be making a recommendation to the judge as to what should happen, whether Jose should serve out his life in a prison or whether he should be taken out and executed. Is there anything about Jose?
Sir, the way he spent his life in prison or being taken out and executed. Sir, that was worded so, oh my God, so badly.
Jose's character. Anything about Jose that these jurors should consider when they figure that issue out?
Jose's really good-hearted, positive. He was never mean. He didn't like confrontation. It's just family kid. Made sure his siblings, his little cousins were good. They weren't getting in trouble. He never wanted that for us, ever.
Well, that's all I have for you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
No question. Thank you, ma'am. You may step down from the witness stand. And the defense next witness or item of evidence.
Your Honor, our next witness, and I believe our final witness, will be Carmen Escalera. Carmen Escalera.
And this witness will be testifying through this.
Yes, we are interpreters. Yes, sir.
Members of the jury, the next witness is going to be testifying through Ms. Valdivieso. If you recall, she's been sworn for this trial to do her job. She's a court-certified interpreter. She does not need to be re-sworn. She works for the court. She's independent. Bear that in mind. She's completely neutral. She's here solely to assist in communicating the witness to you. She will repeat only what is said and will not add, omit, or summarize anything. And with regard to what she tells you, Some of you may know Spanish, but it's important that all jurors consider the same evidence. Therefore, you must accept the English translation that she gives you and disregard any different meaning that may occur to you.
Okay, so this would be done with an interpreter, so this might be kind of rough. Meet, leave her alone, let her sleep. Meet. Sorry.
Sure, if that's better, whichever is more comfortable.
Señora, tomen la mano, levante la mano derecha para que preste juramento. Espera, escucha.
Do you swear or affirm
¿Usted jura o afirma
that the evidence you're about to give
que el testimonio que va a dar
will be the
yes,
truth,
será la verdad?
the whole truth,
Yes, toda la verdad.
and nothing but the truth?
¿Y nada más que la verdad? Yes.
Okay.
Gracias.
Yeah, that'd be fine. Judge, it would be easier for the board to step up. Could we have the witness just sit right here?
Just concerned about the microphone amplifying her voice.
We would have them right in front here.
If that works, we give it a try. We have the stand alone microphone. We give that to Ms. Valdez. She can speak into that microphone. It'll amplify what she translates. Ms. Valdez, if you could hold that so the jury can hear your translation. It's not really matter. It's not important so much that they hear her amplified. It's more important to hear you. Is it on? You want to check just by? Very good.
Okay, ma'am. Tell these folks who you are.
Bien, señora, dígale a estos señores aquí, ¿quién es usted?
Me llamo Carmen Escalera.
My name is Carmen Escalera.
Okay. You see Jose there.
¿Usted ve a José allá?
How do you know him?
¿Cómo es que lo conoce? ¿Perdón? I know him because he is my son.
Okay, you remember when I came to visit you?
I'm going to pause because I want everyone to take notice in the flush color. His coloring changed. When his mom's coming up there, I noticed it when she was walking through the gallery and he started looking back at her. But now that she's up there speaking, he is turning redder. I have a feeling he's going to cry. And there's going to be real tears this time because this is his mother and he's going to miss the hell out of her.
You.
¿Usted recuerda cuando le fui a visitar en Connecticut?
Sí, yo recuerdo, pero no recuerdo el día.
Yes, I remember that, but I don't remember the day.
Oh, you don't have to remember the exact day.
No tiene que recordar el día.
But I took some items away with me from you, right?
Yo tomé algunas cosas conmigo.
Yeah, pictures.
Yes, pictures.
We'll get to them. We'll get to them first, okay?
Hablaremos de ello primero.
So I'm going to, may I approach the witness, Judge? You may.
¿Puedo sacar la
I'm going to show you some items, some photos.
Le voy a mostrar algunas fotos.
It is Defense Penalty Phase Exhibit 3.
Es el pruebas número, a ser admitidas número 3 del panel de la defensa. Si usted puede tomarlas y mirarlas.
Take a look through each one.
Mire cada una. This is me.
Oh, you don't have to, I'm going to ask you about them after you just.
No, le voy a preguntar en un momento. Solamente deseo que las mire a ver si las reconoce.
Have you looked through them?
¿Las revisó todas? Yes.
Do these photographs accurately represent these items that I have right here?
Estas fotografías aquí describen exactamente lo que yo tomé aquí. Yes, all of them, just like it is.
Okay, Judge, at this time, I would like to move the photo composite defense penalty phase 3 into evidence.
No objection. Those items will come into evidence without objection.
Thank you. And Judge, I would like to, I'm going to review the items one at a time with the witness. The photos will go back in evidence, but I'd like to publish the actual items if I might.
Any objection to that? Do you know what he's referring to? Okay, you may do.
Yeah, I'll hand the actual photos
Sure.
around.
You
They
may
will
do
not
so.
go back. Yes, they will. The photos, this will stay with you.
Estas fotos se quedan con usted.
Okay?
¿Está bien? The rest of the pictures.
All of it goes to you.
Todas se les va a devolver.
Okay, the jury will work with the photos.
El jurado se quedará con estas fotos, pero usted recibirá los marcos.
So let's work at them one at a time, okay?
Entonces hablemos de una a la vez, ¿está bien?
This photograph, what is this a picture of?
Esta fotografía, ¿quién está en esa foto? That's my nephew.
And who is this?
¿Y quién está allí? That's me.
That's you.
Ese es usted.
All that hair.
Con todo ese cabello.
Okay.
That's one.
Okay. Do you recognize this item?
¿Usted reconoce este objeto? José.
That's Jose.
Ese es José. That's José.
Do you know how old Jose is?
¿Usted sabe qué edad tiene allí? ¿Perdón? 1 year old.
He's bigger than one in that picture.
Do you recognize this photograph?
¿Reconoce esta foto? My grandson. Hábleme en español, señora. Those are my grandchildren. José's sons.
Jose's son.
Los hijos de José.
Who's
Yes.
who?
¿Cuál es cuál? Damián and the other one, I don't remember the name.
Was this picture taken a long time ago?
Esta foto fue hace mucho tiempo. Yeah, it's a very old picture.
Thank
you. Gracias.
How does she not know her grandkid's name? I'm sorry. Does she have to?
This photograph? This Jose too?
¿Y esta foto es José también? Yes, also José.
Was this a school photo or did you take it yourself?
Esta fue una foto, señora, espérame. ¿Esta foto fue tomada por usted o en la escuela? That's from school.
Thank you. Do you remember what grade Jose was in there?
¿Recuerdan qué año estaba? Kindergarten.
Well, not in kindergarten anymore, I don't think. Who is this?
¿Y este quién es? My son and his friend.
Yeah, that's Jose?
¿Él es José? That's José. ¿Perdón? He's young in there.
Do you remember?
All the pictures that I have here around him.
The young lady, do you know who that is?
¿La jovencita sabe quién es? ¿Perdón? I think Nancy, something like that.
Do you remember about how old was Jose when this photograph was taken?
¿Usted recuerda qué edad tenía José cuando tomaron esa foto?
He was 12 or 13 years old in that photo.
He was 12 or 13 years old in that picture.
14.
Or 14.
Was this photograph taken in your house?
¿Esa foto la tomaron en la casa de usted? Yes. Gracias.
Who are we looking at here?
Y aquí estamos mirando acá. My grandchildren.
These Jose's children?
Los hijos de José. Yes.
Okay, we've got 5 photos. They look like they're taken. Were these taken at the same time?
Acá hay 5 fotos. ¿Fueron las 5 fotos tomadas a la misma vez? Yes. Yes. Yes, the same place, the same house. I ordered them. That's my daughter and that's Jose. Is this Jose? And his sister.
Did you have a photographer come to the house to do this?
Un fotógrafo vino a la casa. Yes.
How old do you remember Jose is there?
¿Qué edad recuerda usted que tenía José allí?
Ella tiene como, él tiene entre 2 años.
He's about 2.
Y ella entre 1.
And she's about 1.
Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, this is the last item.
Este es el último objeto.
What is this?
¿Qué es esto?
Un diploma de la escuela de José.
That was a school diploma from José.
And the date is 1982, is that right?
El año es 1982. ¿Es eso correcto? Yes.
And,
This is there.
and it says that that's Jose's name there?
¿Y está el nombre de José allí? Yes, José Escalera.
This diploma says that in 1982, Jose Escalera is entitled to promotion from kindergarten to first grade.
Acá dice que José Escalera en el 98 entonces pasó de kindergarten a primer año. Yes, to first grade.
And that's given at Bridgeport.
Y eso se hizo en Bridgeport. Yes. Gracias.
Tell me about when you and Jose were living in Bridgeport and Jose was growing up in Bridgeport. Was it a tough neighborhood or a nice neighborhood?
Cuéntame cuando usted y José vivían allí cuando él estaba creciendo en Bridgeport. ¿Era un barrio difícil o era un barrio bueno? It was a good one.
How long did you live there?
¿Cuánto tiempo vivió allí? Over 20 years there.
And in this good neighborhood, did you have a lot of money, ma'am?
¿Y en este barrio tenía usted mucho dinero? Money from where?
Can you, remembering Jose when he was in school or when he was with that young lady, remembering Jose's essential nature, would you describe Jose as a violent person?
¿Usted recuerda cuando José en esa foto de jovencito con esa amiga, usted recuerda cuál era la naturaleza de su personalidad? Que si él era un muchacho violento.
No.
No. He was kind.
Had you ever seen him to hit anybody or be involved in fighting?
¿Usted alguna vez lo vio a él pegarle a alguien o estar involucrado en alguna pelea? No, he was one that I have to defend, so nobody will be hitting him.
Oh, he had to be defended himself.
¿Él tenía que defenderse? No, he never asked for trouble.
How did he do in school?
¿Cómo le iba en la escuela? Very well.
Did he go all the way through and get a high school diploma?
¿Terminó la escuela y sacó su diploma de high school? No, no.
Did he move to Florida when he was a teenager?
Él se mudó a Florida cuando era un adolescente. Yes.
And did he work and make his own way when he came to Florida?
Él trabajó y se mantenía él mismo aquí cuando se mudó a Florida. He was working all by himself.
You mentioned that Jose was kind.
Se dijo que José era amable. Yes.
Was he the type to become hot-headed and angry?
Él era el tipo de que se le calentaba la cabeza y se enojaba. No, not at all.
Did you observe him, or would you characterize Jose as being a positive influence on his cousins?
¿Usted le veía a José como que él era una influencia positiva a sus primos?
No.
¿Perdón?
No.
No.
No, he was not a good influence. Was he
Él no era buena influencia.
It's not translating.
¿Perdón?
No de eso, no sé. Que no era mala influencia para las nenas. No,
He was not bad influence to the children.
He was not a bad influence.
No era mala influencia.
No.
No.
Was he a good influence?
Él era buena influencia. Yes.
What's up, man?
Have you been able to stay in communication with Jose while he's been in jail here?
Mientras él estaba aquí en la cárcel, ¿usted ha estado en comunicación con él? Yes. By phone.
Have you been able to put any money into the jail so Jose could buy snacks or stuff like that?
¿Usted ha podido poner dinero en la cuenta de él para que él pueda comprar cosas de comer? Yes. Yes.
Do you know whether Jose provided support for his children, financial support?
¿Usted sabe si es que José mantenía económicamente a sus hijos? He supported them.
Is there anything else about Jose's nature or character that you would like these folks here to think about when they make their decision?
¿Hay algo que usted desea decir de la naturaleza o de la personalidad de José aquí a estas personas para que ellos tengan en cuenta cuando tomen su decisión? With all due respect, that is his decision.
Thank you. That's all the questions I have for you, ma'am. Thank you for coming.
Gracias, esas son las preguntas que tengo. Gracias por estar presente.
Any questions from the state?
¿La fiscalía desea preguntar? No hay preguntas.
Thank you. You may step down from the witness stand.
Usted puede retirarse, señora. Ahí le van a ayudar.
Okay.
While she's getting down, I'm gonna go turn off my ice machine. It's squealing.
And counsel, if you could approach at this time.
No, y'all go play. Go play. I don't know why, but when it gets full, it squeals.
Phase, the defense does rest. Thank you.
Members of the jury, both sides have rested the case. We're going to take a lunch break for you all at this time. We're going to continue to work, and we're going to reconvene at 1:50.
Okay, they're going to go to lunch break.
We are about to.
Okay, and they're going to come back with their closing arguments for the penalty phase. So here we are at the closing arguments.
Conclude the case with the arguments by the attorneys. Before we do, the evidence is closed. However, I do want to instruct you that the parties agree or stipulate that the defendant in this case has no significant history of prior criminal activity. So lawyers are about to argue the case to you. As I mentioned, the evidence is closed. What the attorneys say is not evidence, but do listen closely to their arguments. They are meant to persuade you in your evaluation of the evidence and influence your decision from their perspective. Both sides will have an opportunity to make an argument to you, but the state is allowed to proceed first, and the state may proceed with its closing argument.
Think back again, all the way back to jury selection these many weeks ago, right? And we had talked about our ability to keep our word and follow the law, right? That's what we're here for. That's what we're here to do. We remind you again at the last closing argument, and I'm going to keep beating that drum, right? Because it's so important to be able to follow the law and to keep our word, particularly in a case such as this with the evidence that's been before you. When you do that, always view this evidence through the lens of objectivity, and to make sure that we render a dispassionate verdict, right? You've been confronted with highly emotional evidence from both sides, right? And that's why it's important to view this evidence as dispassionately and as methodically as we can so that we arrive at the correct decision. Emotional people make bad decisions, right? Emotional people make bad decisions. That's why we've got to look at this evidence with objectivity, reason, and logic, right? So having said that, this is what we're confronted with today. And again, I'm going to kind of go through this process again. I know we've heard it before, but we want to make sure that we get it right. So to be clear, you are confronted with not one death sentence, but two, right? 2 death sentences are on the table, 1 per count. Count 1 deals with the murder of Tanya, count 2 with the murder of Josiah. Each count is analyzed separately, and we use the same process that's been set forth in the jury instructions that was detailed to you by Judge Murray. Of course, the first step is we got to have a unanimous finding that the state proved at least 1 or more aggravating factors per count in order to proceed with the death penalty. Those have to be proven beyond a reasonable doubt, right? And in this case, both counts share the same 3 aggravating factors, the same 3, and then there's an additional aggravating factor for count 2 that deals with Josiah. So here they are. The first one, the defendant was contemporaneously convicted of another capital felony, right? Contemporaneously or at the same time. The murder was committed for financial gain. There's your second aggravator. The first-degree murder was committed in a cold, calculated, and premeditated manner without pretense of moral or legal justification. Right? Those are our 3 aggravators that are shared by both counts. Count 2, in which Josiah is the identified victim, and this one is this. The victim of the first-degree murder was under the age of 12. That's it. That's it. And so we'll start with the easiest one first, right? The first aggravator, this should be unanimous, is this one. The victim of the first-degree murder was a person less than the age of 12. Well, what's our evidence to support that? Well, of course, it's straightforward, right? We first, Tanya was pregnant. She was very far along into her pregnancy. We presented the testimony of Dr. Stossel. And what did Dr. Stossel say? Do you remember? He said, listen, this was a perfectly healthy child. This was a perfectly healthy child. Mom had some complications, and mom was high risk, but that child was perfectly healthy. So there's your unanimous aggravator, at least for count 2. Then we go through the remaining aggravators, and that apply to each count. So the first one, the defendant was contemporaneously convicted of another capital felony. Well, that's what we have here. This aggravator applies to each count because the homicides occurred at the same time, contemporaneous, at the same time. The count 2 would be an aggravator for count 1, and vice versa. Count 1 would be an aggravator for count 2. So this has already been proven, and it's reflected in your first verdict. Next, the first-degree murder was committed for financial gain. Okay, let's talk about this. So in the transcript, section 3 of 39, you heard the evidence. This is the words of the defendant. She's pregnant from that little a-hole that works there. She says it's mine, supposedly. I can't take any chances.
I lose everything. I'm going to blow her brains out so that she doesn't talk. I have to do it, Eric. I have no other choice. And then key sentence, I am going to lose everything. I am going to lose everything. And then he follows that up. If my wife found something like that out, oh my God, bro, I lose everything, bro. So there is our aggravator. So how do we arrive at financial gain from those particular circumstances or from those particular statements? I'm going to lose everything. We all know what the consequences are of a possible divorce, right? That's what he's looking at in his mind. He's looking at a possible divorce. So what does that mean when he says, I'm going to lose everything? Well, first off, as we all know, just from common human experience, what happens? You get a divorce, your cost of living increase, you no longer have a second income. Remember, his wife is working with him at Waste Pro, right? His wife works with him at Waste Pro at the time of this, right? So we have that. And we also have, what do we have? Child support, right? This is his way out of paying child support. Now, it's important to keep in mind, this financial gain, it doesn't have to be the primary motive for this killing. Let me be very clear about that. This does not have to be the primary motive for this killing. It can be a motive for this killing. And that's the state's position in this case. It is a motive, not necessarily the primary motive. And it's borne out by this defendant's own statements. It's borne out by his own statements. I'm going to lose everything. That means his wife. That means financial, his ability to prosper financially. That means he can avoid child support. That's what that means. And that's the aggravator in that particular case. Next one. And the most significant, right? The capital felony was a homicide and was committed in a cold, calculated, premeditated manner without any pretense of moral or legal justification. Okay, here we go. Remember, and the jury instructions define it. What happens is it defines each subpart, right? Cold, calculated, premeditated. I'm going to walk you through each one of them. Cold, this is what the jury instructions say. It means the murder was the product of cool and calm reflection, right? Cool and calm reflection. What's our evidence that supports that definition? Well, here it is. 2 days prior to the murder. The murder happened on August 23rd of 2018. This statement was made on August 21st of 2018. Listen and think about what he says here. I just can't do it inside my truck. It won't hurt me if it's not my truck. I got to strangle that bee. You can't leave no blood or nothing in the truck. I don't want nothing. If they ever come asking about anything, there's nothing. It's like you said, there's no other way around it. It's like you said, you got two unintelligible and that's it. All the BS will be over, and the higher up around here, the more they'll blame her boyfriend because they're always fighting. You know what I'm saying? She now has a record in which someone did something to her. You know what I'm saying? All that S. So think about what he's talking about here. He's already developed a plan as to how he's going to kill her. He's already developed a plan as to how he's going to execute. I said her, it's both of them, right? As to how he's going to execute both of them. This is his plan, and he's smart enough to know I can't do it inside my truck, right? Because he's trying to figure out a way to not leave blood. I got to strangle that bee, right? So he's coming up and he's developing this plan, and it's with an eye towards avoiding detection, right? He's minimizing his risk. He's trying to get away with this, right? So I can't leave no blood. Of course, the best laid plans of mice and men, right? He did leave blood in the truck. But 2 days beforehand, his plan is to get away with a double homicide. So think about what he's saying here. And the higher up around here, presumably he means law enforcement. The more they'll blame her boyfriend, right? The more they'll blame her boyfriend because they're always fighting. You know what I'm saying? She has a record in which someone did something to her, meaning that the law enforcement will look and find out cases in which she's been a past victim, and then they'll point the finger at him, right? Think about that. So not only has he developed a plan to execute Tania and Josiah, but his plan is more in depth than that. His plan is more devious than that. What does he do? He is attempting to frame this so that someone else can be blamed for the murder, right? Someone else, an innocent person, can be blamed for these murders. That was his plan. That was his plan, not only to execute these people, but to get away with it. And third, to make sure an innocent person was convicted in his stead. Extreme facts call for an extreme sentence. Extreme facts call for an extreme sentence. Was all of this, the questions before you was all of this, is that the product of cool and calm reflection? Absolutely it was. Absolutely it was. Calculated. Calculated means having a careful plan or prearranged design to commit murder. Okay, so what are our facts that support that particular sub-element? Well, again, 2 days prior to the murders, he's in this waste road truck and they're driving around with Eric Alvarado. What does he say? You can't prove anything if no one saw anything. I was thinking of taking her to some field nearby the route. Adolfo Cavelli testified the scene of the crime was on his trash route, right? So his plan, he was able to execute his plan, right? So he took her to a place near the trash route. Do you know where I go? When she go in there, she disappears for a couple of days. She does that. She disappears for 2 or 3 days. She always does that. And I'll take her phone and I'll throw it away. I'll throw it away or I'll burn it. They can't do anything there. I have everything planned out. This was not, ladies and gentlemen, a homicide or homicides that was committed in at the spur of the moment, in heat of passion, when someone's upset, when somebody wasn't thinking through the consequences of his actions. Oh no, he admitted, he stated, he had everything planned out. Extreme facts call for an extreme punishment and premeditated. The third sub-element, remember, this is exactly what you've already found. This portion of the jury instructions, it's no different than what you found during the guilt phase. It defines premeditation. What is added on in this phase is this particular section right here. For this aggravating factor to apply, a heightened level of premeditation demonstrated by a substantial period of reflection is required. So that's the difference. That's the difference for the aggravator. The aggravator adds on this requirement of demonstrated by a substantial period of reflection. So what we have is we've already gone through statements where he's made 2 days in advance about how he's planned it out, right? 2 days in advance, he's planned it out. But do you remember, think back to Kenneth Barron during the guilt phase, right? Kenneth Barron was the guy, he comes in and he says, listen, this defendant approached me about a ghost gun, right? He approached me about a ghost gun. And what did he do? 2 to 4 weeks before, right? 2 to 4 weeks before. If he's to be believed, and we have no reason to disbelieve him, is there enough evidence to support the proposition that the defendant was thinking about this murder and planning it out and premeditating it out 2 to 4 weeks before it happened? Of course there is. Of course there is. What Kenneth Barron said fits in with all of the other facts and all the other evidence that was gleaned in the state's case, right? Is there any reason to disbelieve Kenneth Barron? All of this evidence, all of it shows that the state has been able to establish this particular aggravator beyond a reasonable doubt. And then the final sub-element is this. It was carried out without any pretense of moral or legal justification, and then it defines that as any claim of justification or excuse, though insufficient to reduce the degree of murder, rebuts the cold, calculated, premeditated nature of the murder. Okay, so have you been presented with any evidence that would either justify or excuse these homicides? No. No. There's no question that we have proven this aggravator beyond a reasonable doubt. And so remember, then we get to the mitigating evidence, right? Then we get to the mitigating evidence. And let's take a fair look at it and figure out where to go from here. And remember, as we all discussed in jury selection, we consider everything, right? Everything we consider. But then after we consider it, what do? We figure out how much weight it deserves, right? So that's what the law says. The most impactful mitigator certainly is the fact that this defendant has no significant criminal history. You obviously consider that and obviously give it whatever weight that you believe it deserves. It's up to you to decide how much value this mitigator has after you weigh it against the aggravators, right? So it weighs its weight against it. The I think it was the first witness that was presented yesterday was Raul Benasco. He was the fellow who testified via Zoom. He's your prison expert, and he worked with the Department of Corrections. I think he's in Texas now. And he came in, and if I understood him correctly, the gist of his testimony was, well, okay, we get it. The defendant will adjust well to prison life, and he's going to be able to follow all the rules and not become a problem. So that's what you're being asked to believe. Okay. Well, let's think about that. Let's consider that for a second. If I understood Benasco's testimony correctly, he met with the defendant for an hour and a half, right? He talked to the defendant, someone who is facing the death penalty, and he talked to him for an hour and a half. He then reviewed the defendant's behavioral records from St. Lucie County Jail, right? And based on that, he arrives at the conclusion that he will not be a problem in prison. Okay. Even if he were to be able to accurately predict that, and there's no guarantee that he can. After all, he's going to go to prison, right? If there is ever an unpredictable environment in this world, it would be prison, right? You're not talking about a bunch of rule followers in prison. They're there for a reason. So let's assume that let's just, for argument's sake, let's be fair. For argument's sake, let's assume that he can accurately predict that, right? Let's assume that he's accurate in that. How much weight do you give that, right? How much weight would you honestly assign that when you're looking at the aggravating evidence in this case? How much weight would that honestly give and fairly give when you view this evidence objectively? When you view it objectively, how much weight would you give that? The answer is very, very little. So then we get to Lucinda Cook. Lucinda Cook is the ex-girlfriend. She says that she was in a relationship with him between 2006 and 2012. She didn't have a meaningful conversation with this defendant for 13 years, right? That was her testimony. She has not spoken to him in a meaningful way for 13 years until just a few weeks ago. I think her testimony was a month ago I spoke to him. So either during the jury selection process or right before the jury selection process, the defendant re-enters her life, right? The defendant re-enters her life. Okay. Again, and she also said, well, he was never violent with me. Okay. He was never violent with her. Okay. So again, the question is, and only you can answer this, is how much weight would you assign that? Right? How much weight would you honestly assign that? Somebody who hasn't spoken to him in 13 years, how much weight do we give that evidence? Very low. Very low. And then, of course, today you have the defendant's mother and his other family members. Okay, again, highly emotional testimony, as you would expect, right? And of course, they're going to have good things to say about him, as you expect, right? No surprise, as you expect. His mother is going to come in and say nice things about her son in these horrific circumstances. So, again, my question would be, how much weight would you give that, right? I mean, if we're here to give our reasoned judgment and weigh the facts and the evidence out and apply it to the law in as dispassionate a way as we possibly can, right? We're not here to be swayed by our emotions. Emotional people make bad decisions. If we weigh this out as dispassionately as we possibly can, would we give this testimony any weight? I think you give it minimal weight. At best, you give it minimal weight. And of course, we finally arrive at the weighing process, right? And again, this is directly from the jury instructions that we spoke about at length during jury selection. And it's very, very straightforward, very, very simple. Whether sufficient aggravating factors exist, which of course they do, and then whether the proven aggravating factors outweigh the proven mitigating factors. That's it. That's all you do. So I end with this. Our criminal justice system relies on accountability, right? Our criminal justice system demands accountability. And part of that is to punish people proportionate to the crimes that they've committed. Punish them proportionate to the crimes that they have committed. This defendant, he murdered Tania and Lucie Wise for no other reason than he believed that he would lose everything if his wife found out about the pregnancy. He could have come clean to his wife. He could have paid child support. He could have been accountable to his wife. But he didn't do that. He planned this murder out for a lengthy period of time, and he executed that plan. That's what he did. That's what you found. Extreme facts call for an extreme sentences. That's what we're here for today. Ladies and gentlemen, this defendant deserves not one, but 2 death sentences. Extreme facts call for extreme sentence. That's what I'm asking you to impose today. I'm asking you to impose a unanimous vote on both counts for the death sentence in each count. On behalf of Tom Backett, your state attorney, on behalf of the people of the state of Florida, thank you for your patience and your service this month. Thank you very much. It is, I speak for everybody, it is truly appreciated on everybody's part. Thank you so much.
Mr. Richardson, the defense argument. Mr. Byrne. Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay. We're going to pivot to the defense now. That was, I mean, that was a good, sorry, my dogs are acting up so bad. That was a good presentation. See, this is what I'm saying. I can't get a word in edgewise because Meat's over here acting like an idiot. Anyways, it was a good presentation. I liked his PowerPoint and everything. Let's see if the defense can come through as well.
Greetings also to you. Tania Wise,
Josiah Wise, murdered by Jose, who is my client. The trial is always about the accused, but the case is about those two. The main facts of the case are that they are not here anymore.
and I tell you that because it's true.
And I tell you that because I wish you to recognize that I know it. None of the evidence that has come before you has been received by me in any inhuman or different way than you have received it. I've just lived with it for a much longer time. I wish to respond to some of the things that Prosecutor Richardson just indicated. He made a very strong case, and I told you yesterday that I am not going to quarrel with the fact that this was a coldly and calculatedly and premeditatedly done act. We have Jose's voice in his truck a couple of days before this. That was his plan.
Thank you,
I
Jerry.
don't dispute that. So what does that mean for you?
Well, it means you're going to unanimously find that there is an aggravator. And the gate is swinging wide open for you to kill him if you want to now. The last legal requirement is met.
The baby, I told you yesterday, that those photos look to me much like a newborn baby. Certainly less than 12 years of age. I don't argue that aggravator. Now there are two. I'm here to try to save my guy's life, not insult your intelligence. Those two factors are there. I don't have arguments against them that are in any way meaningful. That the crimes were committed while there were contemporaneous other capital felonies going on.
Jose kills Tania, the baby is a contemporaneous crime. They work back and forth as aggravators. If you wish to
find them so unanimously, I will only say this: the existence of the baby Josiah, the fact that Tania was pregnant, is clearly a central fact. But Jose's intent, while it would necessarily have to cover the baby, his anger, his hatred, whatever it was that was really pushing him and motivating him along, was aimed at Tania. There were no abdominal injuries, no indication of hatred toward the baby. Mr. Richardson tells you that because Jose said I'd lose everything, that therefore, beyond a reasonable doubt, you should all conclude that this crime was done for or affected by financial gain. No, that is not proved.
If you are worrying about losing your marriage, that doesn't mean you're worried because there might be financial implications. If you are worried about losing your job because your wife is a supervisor, the uncontroverted evidence before you is that Jose has worked steadily since he's 15 and been totally self-sufficient. A divorce is not going to knock him off kilter. Fearing having to look for a new job is not going to prompt him to do a murder.
That this crime was done for financial gain is not proved beyond a reasonable doubt.
because of the consequences of divorce, because of child support. He paid child support for 3 children, is the evidence before you, and gave groceries and clothing for the 4th. That is not proved. Extreme facts require, says the state, an extreme sentence. These are horrible facts. Every murder is comprised of horrible facts and would consist of photos of a victim in sight, photos of a victim during autopsy. Jose, according to the evidence, planned to get Tania to a place and kill her. That's every mob hit ever. Let's get Paulie to the club and we'll whack him. That's not an extreme fact. That's an ordinary fact. We're talking about facts of murder, mind you. We're talking about murder. To get someone to a place where no one can see to do the crime is not extreme. It's common in murder. Raul Benasco spent 90 minutes with Jose. Perhaps Mr. Richardson would prefer that he moved in with him for a year in his cell. How long is a man supposed to sit with them to learn some history and review his prison record, which is what the man's expertise is all about? That Lucinda Cook had no communication with Jose for 13 years and yet came in here after all that time to speak on his behalf doesn't count against him, it counts for him. What kind of an impression did he make on her? That after all this time, she consults, she prays, and she comes in. When other people are jumping ship, she comes in. And her intention is not to tell you who he is now or quarrel with you about your verdict. It's to say, look, whatever you found that he did, I'm surprised by it because that's not the way he behaved with me and with my children. With us, he made us feel safe. And that takes me to kind of one of the topics that I want to discuss with you. I had hoped to just roll through here without having to refer to anything written, but the situation changed with my witnesses and whatnot, and so I'm going to refer to some topics here, and then I'm going to explain them to you. And one of the things that's going on here, I'm going to refer to as box and balloon. Box and balloon, it sounds like a kid's game. Bear with me here. The box is the life of Jose Soto Escalera. In toto, everything. From birth to now, certainly from birth to the time he did the murder. And as you heard from his family, yeah, it's what's expected from family. Would your family come in and run you under the bus? I hope not. So he was good. He was generous. He was uplifting. He was a mediator. He left and encouraged us to come out. There were good things to Jose. He comes to Florida. There are women who say good things about him. Madeline Colon and Lucinda Cook. He has long-term relationships with them. He supports emotionally and otherwise children that are his and that aren't his. He brings.
Sir, are you going to mention that he had an affair on his wife and had another child outside of his marriage?
Safety to women who are recovering from traumatic relationships. All that is in the box. At the bottom, we insert a balloon.
And that doesn't include Tania. Okay, that was not one of his other ones.
The balloon is this crime. It is this murder. It inflates because it is the chief act within all the acts of that box. The question for you is, how big does the balloon get? Does it crowd out every other thing in a man's existence to the point where you regard him as almost inhuman and therefore like a cigarette butt or a cockroach? He's not. He's a horrible, horrible killer. And other things too. One of the topics I have written down here is humility. Humility. I recommend humility to myself. I don't always follow. I recommend humility to most people in most circumstances, and I most absolutely recommend it to you here in thinking about this. Why do I say this? Because you made an impression on me. When I sat back while Ms. Minton did all the work early in the case, I was watching, I was listening, and I was very, very impressed with your confidence. How confidently you all said, this one I'd kill him, I'd kill him, I'd kill him, this one, I don't know. You're very confident in your ability to make these judgments, and I wonder, in addition to being impressed, I say, how do these people come by this confidence? Do you have education? Do you have experience in this regard? You were on the streets a couple of weeks ago, now you're in here deciding who lives and who dies. That's correct according to the law. And it's probably good that we don't leave it up to just one person. But I still think you ought to think about how perfectly suited you are to do this. Take a look. Think. How do you think? When's the last time or when's the first time any of you thought about how you think? Probably not. It's just a thing you do. You put on your shoes, you make a bowl of cereal, you think. You're thinking all day, your mind's taking you here and there. How exactly does it work? When have you examined the functioning of your brain? Look to that door right there. Let's use our imaginations. These folks here are essentially asking you to put a target on Jose's back and make arrangements for death to do his thing with this guy. Because the law permits you to do it, and you would decide that's what should be done. So through that door now comes death. Death is coming in, coming through the gate. Death is right here. I'm asking you to imagine death is right here in the room with us. How many of you perceive death right here in the room with us as a female? None of you, right? As a child, none of you, right? It was some hulking, some version of the Grim Reaper, right? You have conclusions and ways and things in your brain, and you don't even know how they got in there. Death could be a woman. Death could be a child. It could be a noxious cloud. But you, I'm pretty sure, had death as a male. In what other ways do you think or make decisions and you're not even exactly sure what? This is intended to be an abiding decision. Live with you forever. Like your religion, like you love your children, like your sports team, things you don't change. And so if you decide to kill Jose, that means that you are right now, today, knowing how you're going to think forever, right now you're going to lock your brain into an unyielding rigidity that says, kill him. And if someone asks you next year, or in 10 years, or 20 years, oh yeah, I'm still good with it. That's what it means. And that's why I say you should approach this with some humility. I want you to imagine something else. I'm going to call it a spectrum of death. Jose is on it. Over here is one end. And I'm at this end, and you're at this end, and everyone else in this room is at this end because we had no involvement in killing. Never killed anyone? Never thought about it? And certainly didn't engineer it and make a heavy-duty recommendation that it be done. We are all here, unstained and unsullied by any association with death and killing. Jose is on the spectrum here. Jose is on the spectrum. Let's make this mark on the spectrum where we started with Ashley Minton's questions to you. In the next courtroom over, we got a murder, a first-degree murder who intended to do it. Now, we got a little more than that. We had some aggravators. So Jose's a little further on the spectrum of death. Way out here at the other end of the spectrum of death is we'll put our state actors. Your Hitlers, your Stalins, people killed in millions. It's not really relevant to us, but it's out there because what you need to comprehend, and I don't know if it's ever come through in all the system, in all the sessions that we had, how do we decide what is a death penalty case? The people that you send to Tallahassee, when they become geniuses and philosopher kings, they look at the spectrum of murder, all of it, and say, okay, where are we going to pin it to say what is a death penalty case? And so the whole circumstance that we found ourselves in, since the first group came in here on September 2nd, is we are wallowing around in death and talking about death, and the first thing we do before we go to trial is talk about the death penalty. And you're a jury of Jose's peers. But as you know, from your individual groups, a lot of your peers didn't like the death penalty, but they're on the outside of the door now. So what I'm looking at is a box full of, I won't say killers, but people who are comfortable with it. You all said many times, oh yeah. I'll put down the roadside. Will you vote death? Yes. You're the same people who just convicted him. And I'm just one guy with some words. And I'm afraid you're going to roll right through me and try and kill him, but you don't have to. Here's one simple thing. And in thinking about this argument and then making it, I kept coming back to it because I'm a very simple person, possibly a simpleton. And it is this: why would any ordinary, decent person with a conscience orchestrate a death if they don't have to? Why would you make someone die if it's not required? And it is not required under any circumstances that you have heard or will hear. If Jose is to die judicially, it's because you did it. You want it to be done. The judge can't do it on his own. You have to do it. And so you, I'll use the word contort, but maybe your brains flip right into that position naturally. I say you have to contort yourself and everything you believe and your conscience is to get to a place where you can say, I'm morally comfortable with killing a guy. Let me talk about some of the mitigators. Where's my list of mitigators? There are a lot of mitigators. There are always a lot of mitigators because anything can be a mitigator. And I'm behind the 8 ball. So I'm gonna throw a lot of mitigators out there. I don't suggest they're all of equal weight. I don't even consider them all of equal weight. But I don't know which one you back there might latch onto. So I'm gonna run through them quick. I might highlight a couple of them. This list will be attached to the instructions. It will be part of the instructions that the judge will read you, so you don't have to remember it. There are 29 of them, and some of them strike the same theme, but if Jose was nice to 4 people, I'm gonna name them all individually. As you have heard, as the judge has told you, there's no dispute that Jose has no significant history of prior criminality. That I will highlight for a moment, because that is an extraordinary fact. Do you recognize that? This is a convicted double murderer who did nothing prior. And I think that's important, and I suggest you should think that's important, because if I'm going to make a heavy recommendation that a judge kill someone, it should be a bad person. It should be a very bad person. It should be a pretty bad person through and through. That's not who Jose is. This is an explosion of violence that comes out of nowhere in his life. It doesn't make it any better. Still makes it a murder, but it doesn't make him the type of utterly useless human who you might want to put down. He's not utterly useless. But this is not in keeping with anything that he has exhibited before. And that is very important. Jose was abandoned by his father as a child, raised in chronic poverty. I'm going to stop on that one for a minute, because we did discuss that many times, and a lot of people in jury selection didn't like it. And remember, we're past the guilt phase. No one is saying, poor Jose, let him go because he grew up in poverty. But poverty brings challenges. That's all I ask you to recognize. You know, we acknowledge the importance of 2-parent homes and sufficient money to meet our needs, and yet if people don't have that, we really don't cut them any slack about it. All I'm saying is consider it as a mitigating factor. He had less than probably you and many others. I don't know exactly what that means. My dad was a school teacher. Jose suffers from transgenerational family trauma. There's problems with mama, problems with him, problems growing up in Bridgeport with no money. Chronic exposure to trauma during his childhood. The mama seems to remember the house being fine and the neighborhood fine, but it was not fine. You heard from the cousins, this is not a fine neighborhood. It was a violent neighborhood where drugs were dealt on the streets and crime was in the streets and crime was seen. And that's not an ordinary way to grow up. Jose can positively contribute to society in prison as a worker. I don't contend that that is an especially weighty concern, but it is a totally relevant concern, because remember, where is it? It's life without parole. Look at that. It's like a forgotten option somewhere. Well, I'll blow the dust off it, and it looks pretty good. It looks fine to me. Life without parole. Let's remember, and I will recall to you what you told us also at the same time, within probably 2 seconds of telling us you all can oppose the death penalty, you all said you would consider life without possibility of parole. And if you're sitting here now not doing it, you're not following the law and you're not doing your job. If you decided last week he's guilty and you're going to kill him, you're working a charade and a fraud on us right now. So everybody's mind better be open. You don't have to like what I'm telling you, but you've got to listen to it. And you told us you would consider it. And I'm not exactly striking the tone of a beggar here, but nevertheless, you have a job to do, and I'm going to make sure that you do it. Jose has established and maintains long-term substantive meaningful relationships with friends. Jose has established close family bonds and relationships with his cousins. You know penalties have consequences that ripple if you're going to kill someone. You know that. You heard from the victims in the case. Jose has maintained a close relationship with his mother, maintains close family bonds with his children. You know, that's supposed to be the motive here. And yet he's had opportunity galore and never killed anyone. That doesn't mean he didn't do this, he did. But if he is monstrously wrong for killing one child, you can't deny him or deny the existence of the fact that he helped and contributed and lived a meaningful part of his other children's lives for a long time. I don't know if there's a rug back in the jury room, but you would not be doing right to pick up the corner of it and sweep facts you don't like under it.
wait, why is this? I was trying to type. He's really reaching with his niceness. Why are they walking out? I just saw Jose's family get up. His cousins are all getting up and leaving. Oh, what? Look.
I don't know if there's a rug back in the jury room, but you would not be doing right to pick up the corner of it and sweep facts you don't like under it. Jose demonstrated exemplary jail behavior. He poses no danger to prison staff or inmates. Again, these are all relevant considerations if he is going to be living for years before execution and living out the rest of his life in prison. How he will do in prison is completely relevant for you to consider. Jose has been a positive influence on family members. Jose will be required to work 40, 60 hours a week. That's every day in DOC. As a prisoner, you know, Jose's a prisoner. He's been a prisoner for 7 years. When you capture prisoners in war, you don't kill them. It's a war crime. But here, it's okay to kill prisoners. Think about that. You're being asked to kill a prisoner. He's neutered. He's nothing. He's been in handcuffs and shackles behind bars in a secure jail, guarded 24/7 for more than 7 years. What is the need to kill him? You got that much of an urge? Take him out of his cage and put him down? He's helpless. He's hopeless. That's enough. Your common sense should tell you, your understanding of the world, at least the United States, should tell you that there's plenty of states that don't have a death penalty at all. And they might say, well, he's a prisoner. You got killed. You kill prisoners. That's where your morality is. You kill prisoners. You're more helpless than a prisoner. Jose was a positive influence on his former girlfriends and their children. Jose can be redeemed. For that matter, you know what Jose did 7 years ago. Do you know where his head is at now? If he is taken out in several years and executed, you kill the body, but what is his head? Where will his mind be at? Do you know? Will he be the same person? Because that's how punishment works. Of course, who among us hasn't suddenly snatched up one of our children, put him over our knee, administered a spanking, and said, "That's for what you did 7 months ago." It's not how punishment should work. Jose provides support for his children. No prior history of violence, no criminality, no violence. He has helped his former girlfriend and his son's mother escape dangerous domestic violence situations. He has always been a hard worker in manual labor fields, furniture delivery, security work, others. Jose escaped a high-crime, high-poverty area independently, moving to Florida when he was just 15 years old, and he made it on his own, despite lacking the opportunity to complete his education. He overcame that lack of education through consistent work ethic. He never took a dime of public money, even though he was just a teenager. And again, that undercuts the argument that he did this killing in any way connected to or for or about pecuniary or financial gain. He's always had to work and always had money.
I really wish he would quit leaning that podium. I am just waiting for it to tumble over. It's really bothering me. One of those little things that's just getting on my last nerve is this podium.
Jose has exhibited excellent courtroom behavior. You probably know that people accused of crimes, especially murders, especially in long trials and processes, they don't always keep their mouth shut and they don't always behave. Jose has behaved just as he's behaved as an inmate. Jose will continue to offer positive life influence on his children, family members, and friends who have become emotionally dependent on him. He began working and earning money to help support his family at a young age. He's always been self-supporting, as I mentioned, not a drain on society.
I really have to watch my words sometimes. This man just said Jose wasn't a drain on society. Meaning what? Financially? Because he was sure out there.
Some, if not all of those, you should find exist a little more likely than not, and then you are required to consider them. What weight you give them is completely up to you. This part of the process seemed to confuse a lot of your fellow people who didn't make it onto the jury, who kept insisting that the law, they were just going to follow the law. The law is depositing you off here at a crossroads if you don't realize it yet. Okay, you are going to tell the law what will happen here. Life, forever and ever, until you die and they take you out of prison, or death penalty. And the law doesn't tell you which one, but the law does tell you that life without possibility of parole, like the stepchild option in here, is not a stepchild option. It's perfectly good.
What?
The law gives you a choice because it's perfectly happy with the life. Perfectly happy. And so should you be. It would keep you off the spectrum of death. If you order and recommend that Jose be killed, you're not outside over here off the spectrum of death. You move a little bit closer to him. You now have some involvement in killing. Not to do it yourself. You'll just set the first domino fall that will result in it. Jurors isolated from the execution. You're making a moral decision, but you're not making it in a vacuum, and don't think because it will happen years down the line and you won't be there and it won't be in your hand that you're not responsible. That's my point to you. You are responsible. If the prison's far away, you're still responsible if it happens. Well, someone else in the state's employ, the state executioner will do it, so your hands will be dirty, but it's your handiwork that will be done. So don't think of it as just, you making a death recommendation is like dropping some instructions off on your secretary's desk as you leave for a long weekend. It is not that. The victim impact statements. We heard from several members of Tanya's family. Her mother, I suggest, especially her son, who I thought testified very impressively for his mother. And it may not matter coming from me, but I'm quite certain his mother is proud of him and would be proud of him. But I hate victim impact statements, not for the reason you probably think. Because in fact, I love victim impact statements done right. Victims should have a voice. They should be heard, especially in crimes of violence and especially in loss of life cases. I think victim impact statements should be published in the newspaper and court administration should pay for it. They should have a voice. But here, in this process, that voice is best expressed to the judge with experience, not to the jurors with none. Because within this tight process that you're following that might lead to someone's death, in comes these victim impact statements and where they fit into the process. They do not. What will the judge tell you? Well, the purpose is to establish the uniqueness of the victim and the impact on the family and community. Who would dispute that a murder victim is unique? Everyone in here. We're all the same and all exactly different. Of course, Tania Wise is unique and special and has special characteristics and qualities. But the only thing that you're instructed to do is not regarded as an aggravator. Well, what are you hearing it for then? If for sure ain't no mitigator, every single one of those statements is like an emotion bomb, a sympathy grenade going off, bespattering the walls with sympathy. Not for my guy. In fact, it is so much seeming like an aggravator that you have to be told it's not an aggravator. So that's one thing I don't like about it, that it's dropped in here unfairly. It operates against me and my client, but what am I supposed to do with it? What are you supposed to do with it? It's not an aggravator, and you're only supposed to be deciding the case on aggravators and mitigators, so what are you supposed to do with it? And the other reason I don't like it is because it lends itself to being a victim ranking system. If Tania Wise had no family whatsoever to come in here for her and give victim impact statements, is her life and her murder any less important thereby? No. If Tania Wise was the chief of surgery at the local hospital and saved hundreds of lives through her surgical skills, would that make a difference? It should not. One man, one vote, one murder victim, all the same. They're all the same. Every life is valued the same. No life is valued more than another. If Tania had nobody to come, if that whole segment was not here at all. Okay, it's victim impact time. No one say here. So what are you supposed to do? Oh, she must not be worth very much. Right? Or look, it's 100 people coming. She must be worth so much. It's a victim ranking system. It stinks. Everyone's the same. No one deserves to be killed, no matter who you are. And so I don't like it for that reason. Look, this case is loaded with emotion from top to bottom. And that's just a gigantic injection of it. And for what? I'm not sure what you're supposed to do, and you can't be sure either because it doesn't fit in. It's not an aggravator or a mitigator. That's what we're doing here. We're weighing aggravators and mitigators. We're figuring out factors of his character that might lead you to not kill him. That Tanya is unique. That her family is mourning. That there's a void that won't be filled. Yes.
I will pause to read what I just posted again. During the penalty phase, defense attorneys told the judge that Soto Escalera's wife had been contacting witnesses and tell them not to testify out of fear of backlash. This reportedly led to witnesses backing out, causing the defense to struggle to find people to speak on the defendant's behalf. Sir, don't say she had more friends or anything, because he obviously had people willing to speak for him at first, but something happened. I don't.
But that's not the point. The point is that she is a person who should be alive and is not now, due to Jose's criminality. Who she is important, but it's important outside of this process. There's another one, my little topic.
What? He said she's important outside of the. She's important in this process. He wouldn't be going through this process if he didn't kill her. Take a breath, Sheila.
This is not a fixable situation. You know that. I'm just gone for 7 years now, which is why I never had a chance. Never began. Whether he is imprisoned, Jose, for the rest of his life, or whether he gets taken out at some point and injected to death, whatever he was put in there. Tanya and Josiah will not come back. They can't be made right. And we, you, me, that's the thing that doesn't, it just doesn't fit right. And I think it especially doesn't fit right for Americans because we don't, okay, what are we going to do about it? Let's do something. There's nothing meaningful that can be done. If there are people rooting for the death of Jose, I don't know that there are. If that day comes, they may experience a moment or a day of satisfaction, but I think the next day after, the heaviness and the sadness of the loss is still there. It's undiminished. That's the fact. He lives or dies is less important than the loss that cannot be made right. Killing him won't fix it. It won't fix it. It won't take the pain away. Well, let's talk about something that we mentioned in jury selection.
Stop leaving
Which,
the
by the way, the thing
podium.
that Ms. Minton, that board actually did so much work here in this case, and I did relatively so little. That's my fault. It was a little inside baseball for you. This is my case. I am lead attorney in the case, and Ms. Minton works for me, so to speak, under my supervision. And I could have done everything, or I could have done nothing. But like I told you yesterday, I waited a long time for my chance to speak to you. And the detectives among you have already figured out because I knew I would be here. I knew there would be a penalty phase. And I figured that this would be the hottest part of the trial for Mr.
So he knew he was guilty. He knew that he just said he knew there was going to be a penalty phase. So he knew he was guilty. He knew this was coming. Okay, stop leaning the podium, sir.
Jose Soto Escalera. And so I figured that this ought to be my post of duty and not Miss Ashley's post of duty. But everything that has transpired in this courtroom has been done with my knowledge and my approval from the defense side of things. And you know what? You know why? Maybe you're thinking, well, hey, Attorney Burns, why don't you drag us to a trial for it if you figure you guys guilty already? Because they're trying to kill my guy, and they're going to cross every T and dot every I before they get to do that. Late in a losing game, a losing effort, the final seconds click off the clock. The quarterback doesn't drop back in the pocket and take a knee and give up. He heaves the ball as far as he can and hopes for a miracle. Do you think you are the only ones who can read and understand and appreciate and see evidence and what it means? I've been doing this for a long time. Whatever you can do in that regard, I can do better. I knew I would be here. And we make no apologies for fighting every step of the way, including now. In fact, I feel like I'm in the last ditch, maybe fighting you all off, and I got nothing but a rusty sword in my hand, a slingshot, nothing but words. And I really don't want you to kill my guy. But we're going to talk now about mercy. I hear some of your voices. I hear them from here saying, oh, counselor. Attorney Burns, I was kind of half with you, sort of paying attention up to this point. But mercy for this guy? Mercy. You may, if you harken back just a few weeks, you will recall when Miss Ashley was addressing this topic with you. The point that was attempted to be made and the distinction to be made is how does mercy work? Does the guy who gets it have to earn it? People who give it, just give it. The concept, I believe, that was attempted to be taught to you, and there's not really much time in that classroom where you have to address 20 other matters, is that mercy is always in the power of the victor. Weak people, losers, don't get to grant mercy. People who have power get to grant mercy. And so, whether it's withheld or granted, has very little to do with the recipient and very much to do with you, the grantors. It's a statement of who you are. And so, if any of you are still even within earshot on this issue of mercy, you need to just consult yourself and say, look, am I a merciful person or not? What does mercy mean in this case? The merciful thing is to condemn Jose to live for decades and decades and decades in prison behind bars until he dies. To become institutionalized and infantilized over time and told when to go to bed and when lights on and lights out and when to eat and not to eat and go through the bars and never get out. If I imprison you guys in your old high schools, how long would it be before you went crazy? And he'll be in a prison. That's, most people would not consider that a merciful result, but that's what mercy means here. So it's not a great big fat dollop of mercy, go forth, Jose. It's a little drop of mercy that says, I'm going to kill you. That's all the mercy that would be requested here. Let me take you back a couple of days.
And I also have a question. Why are they letting him use the word mercy? And when her, I think it was a cousin of his was on the stand and said somebody was on the stand and said the word mercy, and it all got shut down, and they couldn't use that word. So I have questions.
And I'm going to read you some words that Judge Merman read to you in describing the elements of first-degree murder. And then I'm going to make an argument from that by reworking those words a little bit. None of what I say to you is a legal instruction. It's just an argument. It's just food for thought. Killing with premeditation is killing after consciously deciding to do so. The decision must be present in the mind at the time of the killing. The law does not fix the exact period of time that must pass between the formation of the premeditated intent to kill and the killing. The period of time must be long enough to allow reflection by the defendant. The premeditated intent to kill must be formed before the killing. That's what the judge read to you. Now, I'm going to change it up a little bit. Killing with premeditation is killing after consciously deciding to do so. The decision must be present in the mind of each juror at the time of engineering the killing. The law does not fix the exact period of time that must pass between proper.
Okay. Why did he decide to speak up now and not when he was using the word mercy? That bothered me. He didn't show mercy to Tanya or Josiah, so, I mean.
You may continue.
What I'm saying to you is the process that you are relying on. This is a moral decision that you make as individuals. And it should be based on a system that you understand and that you can follow. I am going to talk about what you've been asked to do last week and what you're asked to do now. And I'm going to do a compare and contrast. At no point am I suggesting that anything you do or might do is illegal.
Get out from behind my desk. Get out.
I am not asking that anything you do or not do is in any way related to you being murderers or illegal killers or equating you in any moral way with Jose. But you were asked last week to convict a man because he thought about doing a killing beforehand and did it. What are you being asked to do?
Objection, again, improper argument. The difference is.
I'll complete the thought and I'll go on the objection if there is one. The process that is before you, if you follow the instructions and carry it out and think about it, means that you're thinking about forming the intention to ask the judge, recommend the judge to kill Jose. So in this circumstance, it's righteous, right? So sometimes thinking real hard about doing a killing is okay. If you're comfortable with that. If you should go back there, 8 or more of you decide independently. And by the way, this is an independent thing. I don't say you can't talk to one another or nothing like that. But so far, you have kind of walked the path together. Jury selection, you get on the jury, you hear the evidence, you made your decision, and now all of you stand here at the point together. But you sort of come up a stem with a base of a Y, and now you're at the V part and you're looking at the crossroads. That's where the law has deposited you now. And I have acknowledged that the state has demonstrated that there are aggravators. And as I told you, the gate is open for you to kill. And I recommended humility. I recommend you don't go down that path. I wonder, with that gate open, I don't actually think so looking at you, but if any of you might now in 5 minutes or 10 minutes regard this as some sort of a temptation. No one gets to be in your position. Very few people just say, live or die. Look, here it is. Live or die. It's up to you. It might be tempting. Walk the path that people don't get to walk. It's a forbidden path. Highly forbidden. But it's open to you. If you should find it alluring or tempting in any way, the forbidden fruit of control over someone's life or death, you're not in the Garden of Eden being tempted, you're in the Valley of Death being tempted. Walk out of it. Go away. Take the other path. Do not do any killing that is not absolutely required, and this is not required ever.
It wasn't required for him to kill Tanya and Hosea either. Mm.
Sometimes large matters can be understood in simple ways and things that might happen all of a sudden. And you don't even know it until it happens. And one of those, I'm going to hang with me here if you can on this example, is I call it lean in, lean out. Lean in, lean out. People, they lean in, they like something. Lean out when they don't. Lean in to give that first kiss. Hopefully someone's leaning back. Maybe they're not. Maybe they get to lean back. Never happened to me, of course. But I use the example in this way. If you are a juror who votes to oppose the death penalty, and you should remember this is a binding decision. You're good with it now. You're good with it tomorrow. You're good with it forever. You should end up in conversation with someone. The topic comes up. And what did you do? I voted to kill him. Whoa. You're going to get the whoa. You're not going to get the punch. And the person hasn't had a chance to think about it. It hasn't penetrated to the consciousness of that hearer at all. So you're going to get this, you're going to draw back in a whoa because you just admitted to them that you're on the spectrum. You're on the killing spectrum. You're not over here. The rest of us have nothing to do with it. You just said, yeah, I set a man up to die. And that doesn't get up. That gets up. Think about that. This is a big decision. Yeah, I'm just not done. I'm running out of juice. when you go home this afternoon, after having come back and given us your decision, you will now be a life giver or a life taker. You're not going to be the same. If you vote to set the wheels in motion, to give a heavy recommendation to this judge to kill this man, you're not going to be the same. This is a life taker. You are not. Leave the life taker alone on the spectrum of death. Don't take a step nearer to him. You don't have to. I invite you in my final words to consult your best selves, the highest portions of your consciences, the lightness in your heart, not the darkness in your heart. To rot and die in prison is not merciful. It is a horrible, horrible sentence. Do that to him. Thank you.
Thank you, attorneys. Members of the jury, I'm about to instruct you before you deliberate.
Okay, we're not going to watch jury instructions. I want y'all to know, you see this big wrinkle in my forehead? It's just getting worse watching this man up there with that podium is making my wrinkle deeper. He is just, okay. So they went, and we're going to just jump straight down here to the verdict. We don't need to hear their instructions. I will see how long it took to get a verdict. I'm going to Google that real quick. How long did it take for a verdict? It took approximately 1 hour to find him guilty. And during the death penalty phase of the trial, the same jury deliberated for about 1 hour and 25 minutes. So this deliberation
Do not react emotionally to
was about 1 hour. Hold, Judge, let me finish talking. It took about 1 hour and 25 minutes to come to this verdict of the sentencing phase. So I have not listened to it. I don't even know what it is. I haven't listened to it. So
it. We have to remind ourselves of two things. So number one, the jurors are conscripted to be here. They're not here by choice. And two, is very much reflected in the proceedings in this case, where I've had to have 4 or 5 people arrested for not cooperating with the jury clerk's instructions to be present for jury selection. And those proceedings are ongoing. We have a difficult time getting people to participate and do their civic duty. If people were to react emotionally, it's going to affect the jury one way or the other, regardless of the decision, and that dissuades people from cooperating. So if you cannot control your emotions, you must leave at this time. I take this very seriously. I will put people in jail if they react emotionally. If you can't handle being here, do not be here for this. It is an emotional situation. And the reason is, as I stated before, my interest as a judge is to get people in the community to participate and be jurors. Anything that happens that dissuades them, this is taken very seriously. So you're welcome to be here, but if you can't handle the situation, please exit into the hallway and you'll find out what happened. All right, everyone's remaining.
okay, that is Tanya's mom, and this was her surviving son, because unfortunately we lost one of them. And that was the wrong one. Try again, Sheila. Okay, that's the right one. And I'm going to have to add a few people that I've missed on that list. So,
with that admonition, let's bring in the jury. We'll receive the jury's decision in this case. All right, the jury is entering. All right, Ms. Bickley, the foreperson of the jury, if you please hand the jury's decision to the ballot for my consideration.
Shall we remain standing at this table?
Yes, please, actually. Let me review the verdict. You may be seated at this time. The verdict form is in proper form. The clerk shall
Seated?
publish the verdict, omitting the caption.
Caption.
As to the murder of Tania Wise, we the jury find as follows as to the defendant Jose Soto Escalera. Aggravated factors. We the jury unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt that Jose Soto Escalera was previously convicted of another capital felony. Yes. We the jury unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt that the murder of Tania Wise was committed for financial gain. No. We the jury unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt that the murder of Tania Wise committed in a cold, calculated, and premeditated manner without any pretense of moral or legal justification. Yes. If you, the jury, answer no to every aggravated factor listed, you have completed your deliberation as to count one. We, the jury, find by vote of 8-4 that Jose Soto Escalera should be sentenced to death for the murder of Tania Wise.
8-4.
Verdict as to the murder of the unborn child.
8-4. Did you see him shake his head no? Oh my goodness. Yes, sir. You
Verdict
did
as to the
that.
murder of the unborn child of Tania Wise. Aggravated factors. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt that Jose Soto Escalera was previously convicted of another capital felony. Yes. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt that the murder of the unborn child of Tania Wise was committed for financial gain. No. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt that the murder of the unborn child of Tania Wise was committed in a cold, calculated, and premeditated manner without any pretense of moral or legal justification. Yes. We, the jury, unanimously find that the state has established beyond a reasonable doubt that the unborn child of Tania Wise was a person less than 12 years of age. Yes. If you, the jury, answer no to every aggravated factor listed, you have completed your deliberation. We, the jury, find by a vote of 8-4 that Jose Soto Escalera should be sentenced to death for the murder of the unborn child of Tania Wise. Dated this 25th day of September 2025. Foreperson, Bickley.
Please be seated. I will poll the jury this time. Ms. Busa, does the decision announced by the clerk accurately reflect the jury's decision?
Yes.
Ms. Sedano, does the decision announced by the
Oh. Okay.
to get them to me a bit earlier than that, just so I can ponder them before I, come to court if I have questions. But either way is fine. There's really no set procedure. There also gives you the opportunity to present further evidence by the defense at that time.
Wow. Okay. I had one interview pulled, but I later found out that it was before. It was an interview with his mom. Yes, 8-4. I looked and there was a interview with the mom, but I later realized that it was before. It was after the verdict, before the death penalty phase, so it's really kind of irrelevant. We did get to see Tanya's mom already, so wow. And it's 8-4, and that's two death penalty sentences with both votes, 8-4. So there must have been 4 people on that jury that was like, nah, we don't like death penalty. We can't do that or whatever. I find that totally interesting, but that is enough in Florida to impose that sentence. Amazing. I had no clue what the outcome was going to be. I knew that it was a death penalty. That's what it was up for. So, wow. So for both, so justice for Josiah and justice for Tanya. I'm I'm okay with that verdict. I am good with that. I'm going to go take care of my dogs. We have a new trial starting tomorrow. We will get into that tomorrow. I will put it all together. And as you know, we'll have very short, how did we get here? And we will do, they had opening statements today, and that's all they got done. So we will start with the how did we get there, opening statements, and then we will get into their first witness, which is actually not supposed to be till tomorrow. But you know how we like to speed trial and everything, so we skip through all the breaks and all that fun stuff. So with that, I will have that all put together, and we'll start that tomorrow. So until then, I will see y'all tomorrow. Go spend time with your families, watch the clouds roll by, catch some sunshine, touch some grass. Know you are loved. You are special. Till tomorrow, peace. Rubber out. Y'all have a great, great rest of your night. Thank you for being here. And as always, I appreciate every one of you.
Life's a ride on a rickety old track, holding on tight, never looking back.